So say it with me now. No kings, no God. Thank you for all those shares, Tahir. Thank you. The curse was a lie, we're breaking it in song. No peace, no God. Just the people and the God. If you can, I'd love YouTube. It really is helping me get my numbers up. I just keep forgetting to ask, but anytime I'm live, absolutely, I love it when I'm broadcast over on the Deconstruction Junction YouTube as well as my own. Hello over on the YouTube. Let me see who's over here, and then I'll play another song for you guys. I am so close to 800 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to me over on the tubes, oops, let me turn this down. You should do so. It's absolutely free. I am CrystalJae, Jae. Yes, you can request ex parte. Absolutely. Let's do ex parte. And again, if you're friendly and you want to come up and hang out with me today, the guest box is open. Also, if you're a believer of anything, any higher power, if you have faith in something, I want to talk today about what faith is good for. What faith is good for. I'm going to bring up my friend Reasonable Doubt and while I play this next song for you. Here is Ex Parte. I've got something to say, and I want every gentleman here to have a front row seat for this ex parte. Ex parte for the ladies. One side talks, one side stays mute. You carved your covenant in marble, but forgot the feet that swept the pews. We bore the sons that filled these seas, and you signed the pact without the one that leaves. Hey, Mama Bash, if you want to come up. There's always a seat for you. Call this one to order, heaven and earth, bear witness today. Let the record show from the garden's first spring, the blame had a woman's name. Two men sat in the shade of a tree, Adam and Yahweh right in history. They needed a scapegoat, they signed the brief. From that moment on, sin's name was Eve. Leave two men alone, it's always the same. If they can't find a woman, they'll make one to blame.
Crystal.
Hi.
I love this song. Where'd this come from?
I wrote the lyrics for this, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I would love for Joel to sing one of my songs.
No woman was hurt. Shekinah silenced, her fate secured. Let the judge and jury see. The law came by, but we didn't concede. The contract is null as divine. May the record show no woman's side. We never needed a savior or lamb, because the truth is sin's name is man.
There it is.
Sin's name is man. In the land of Egypt we lit the flame. Our mother's prayers, our songs unashamed. We worship the heavens, the stars, the seas. We knew the truth before their decrees. The sign of the men left us behind, abandoning women, blind leading the blind. We bore the children, we kept the fire. They stood on our backs as they climbed higher. Once our rituals were pure, hands in the earth, spirit sure. With Asherah rays, they gave us no choice. But no God, no man can silence the war. May it please the court to hear my battle cry. We denounce the God, we denounce the lies. The pens were theirs, the scrolls they made. It is man's guilt and man that needs saved. Every woman today stands free. If sin is owned and holds the deed, the contract is null as defined. May the record show no woman signed. We never needed a savior, because the truth is sin's name is man. Yes, sin's name is man. Yes, the truth is sin's name is man. Sin's name is man. Yes, the truth
Come on up if you like.
is sin's name is man.
You know,
Sin's name
this song I wrote based on a conversation partially that you and I had, Mama Bash, when you were talking about how like none of the laws applied to you. So like, you know, like those weren't your laws, right? So you're not beholden to them. But then Rabbi Bert was telling us one time that there's a book by a woman named Judith Plaskow called Revisiting Mount Sinai. And it's from a Jewish woman's perspective that, frankly, women weren't invited to the covenant.
Right.
We were told to stay away completely. And so then I started thinking of the legal ramifications for that, right? If I was never invited to that covenant in the first place, how dare you put the blame of all humanity on me?
Absolutely.
So that's why I thought of the song. I was like, no, we not only did sin not derive actually from Eve, the blame should be on Adam. Two men sat around, made up a story, didn't want to take the blame, so they made a woman just so they could blame her.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy to me.
It's
Hi,
wild.
Fee, how are you?
Hey,
I'm
Fee.
good. Hey, Mama Bash. How's everybody doing?
Doing
Good.
well. Reasonable Doubt, how are you? Do you know
I'm doing
Fee
great.
and Mama Bash?
I don't, and I should, and now I am following
Make sure
both
you
of
follow.
them.
And
Nice to meet
Courtney is my friendly Christian. So
awesome.
if you want a friendly
Nice.
Christian, this is Courtney, okay?
Hi, Courtney.
Courtney, welcome.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I was being nosy. I'm like, what is she doing? You're chatting.
Well, today I just want to talk to people about faith. I hear people telling me I need faith. You just gotta have faith. I think George Michael said it best. You gotta have faith, faith, faith. But I don't know why. Like, what good is it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'll ask you because you have faith. I don't. And I don't understand what good it is. I don't understand why, because there's nothing else in my life. Hey, Girls Gone Godless. Good to see you guys. I don't understand like what good it does me. To me, I feel like it tells me to leave all logic behind on this one thing. Otherwise, always use logic. But this, don't do that. And that seems weird to me.
Well, everyone has faith in something. You know, people have faith in their spouses. People have faith in science. People have faith that what they're being taught in school is objective and scientifically backed and supported. You know, everyone has faith in something, but faith in God comes from a different place. I wasn't raised Christian. I was raised overseas in primary, like Muslim and Buddhist countries, and I was taught to be really open-minded and very passive, and that everyone had the right to believe whatever they wanted to believe, and it must be true for them. And I was kind of intellectually lazy. I didn't do my own research or anything like that. But when I actually started looking up faith and I became a Christian, it kind of helped me be a stronger individual, taking away the biblical definition, which is faith in things unseen. There's so many times in life where we don't know what's going to happen, and how we deal with it can show what type of individual we are or how strong we are. And when I didn't have faith, I was a really weak individual. I was really passive. I didn't fight things. I ran away from conflict. And faith taught me to kind of endure and to stop being so weak. And it taught me to be stronger. And it also gave me faith in myself to be more intellectually challenged and to push myself to do more than I was already doing instead of just passively accepting things.
Okay, I want to push back a little bit on you about the word faith, because as a Christian, my faith was sacred. It was very fucking serious to me, and there is no way I would look at any atheist and tell them they had faith, because they didn't have what I had. The Bible describes it as in a very specific way, and they did not have that. And I don't believe that me believing that my chair will support me when I sit down is faith. I think that faith is a very specific thing. I don't believe that me going, Doug has shown me for 30 years who he is in his character. That's why I believe he's at work when he says he's at work, is not the same thing as having faith. I think that those things are two very distinct, different things. And that is why it was so sacred to me as a Christian.
Well, I think there's different definitions, right? You've got your biblical definition of faith, and then you've got like a more modern, what people use more colloquially in modern language as faith. And I think it depends on the application of what you're applying that faith towards. You know what I mean?
Can I
Like,
point something out?
yeah.
Yeah, so here's the one issue. The fact that, first off, the biblical definition that Paul gives, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. People often see the word evidence and they think, oh, that means faith is good evidence, but it's still, I think that's baked into that is the actual definition that we talk about, where when we often, us atheists, often talk about faith as being, you know, what you use when you don't have evidence. This sounds to me like it's still saying that this is a hope of things that are not seen. And then, so sorry, one more thing is the fact that Jesus himself, with doubting Thomas, he said, blessed are you who've seen, but how much more blessed are those who believe without seeing? So Jesus himself said belief should come just from believing without necessarily seeing the evidence.
Okay, and before anybody else goes, Fee wanted to say something real quick. Go ahead, Fee.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of what you both said. I think that is a conflation of terms, right? Like when, to Crystal's point, like the confidence or faith as you use it that a person has in a partner is evidence-based. It's same with science. Like it's testable. There's accountability. There's responsiveness to like the experience, right? So you can test a thing and confirm whether or not that thing is true, and you can do that repeatedly. When you talk about faith in a religious perspective, that's belief-based, like to Reasonable's point, and it's often unfalsifiable. And usually another metric or another example that is part of religious faith is that it's maintained regardless of outcome. So if I'm in a relationship and I believe my partner is faithful, and then I see him with someone else, then that outcome of his unfaithfulness shatters the faith. Right? I no longer have confidence in his commitment to the relationship or the things that I thought that we had. That's not the case with religion. Oftentimes when people talk about their faith being strengthened, it's because what they wanted to happen did not happen, yet they continue to believe.
I agree with both of you guys. Biblically, faith is defined as stuff without evidence. That's why the Bible says faith comes by hearing the word of Christ. It doesn't say because I saw this miracle or because I had this dream. That is the claims that happened in the first century church. And you'll have a lot of people who claim to be Christian come to non-believers and they're like, oh, didn't you see the article about the ark? And didn't you see this? But that's not where faith comes from. And you're correct. It comes from a form of believing without evidence.
Yeah. And so that is what I want to know. Like, how is that good? How is believing something without evidence good for me?
Well, biblically, it's the being saved and believing without evidence and seeking the truth and doing your research that's described that comes later, right? So like I can explain my experience, which is what what kind of aligns with what Scripture says. I heard what the Bible says. I realized I hadn't done what the Bible has said to do to be a Christian, so I did it. I didn't see Jesus or have dreams, or someone showed me what the Bible says, and I followed what the Bible says. It was that simple. But afterwards, the Bible says, test all things, be able to prove all things according to Scriptures. That certain people they search the Scriptures every day. So I had to do my due diligence, because you hear so much stuff and there's so many different things and people say so many different things. I didn't care what they all said. I was willing to do extra research to find out the historical relevance of what the Bible said, where it came from, who wrote it, what the time periods were. Was it metaphorical? Was it literal? Like, to take time to do that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? The beginning part isn't based on evidence, but when you do the other stuff later, you're going to do that research to find that evidence.
So then eventually I'm not going to use faith.
Say that again?
So eventually I'm not going to use faith.
If you choose to not use faith?
No, I'm saying that if I start by using faith and then I have to go research and get evidence, I am no longer using faith.
The faith that you have biblically initially is to believe in what Jesus did on the cross. So it's not, well, I also have to believe that the flood happened and I believe evolution or creationism or this, that. Initial belief is based on believing what Jesus did on the cross. Finding support and evidence for all those other things usually comes later after research.
But what other area of your life do you start with belief? Right? Most other things that we accept as true are evidence-based, and faith would not work. Like I had a physical earlier this week, and had to go to get some lab work done. Like, I wouldn't want my doctor to be like, yeah, you look like your cholesterol's good. I have faith that it's okay. No, I want the test, right? Like, draw my blood, check it to make sure it's okay. But in this regard, you have to start with acceptance of the claim first, and then go to find evidence to support that belief. That just seems inverted. And also not a reliable path to truth, because utilizing faith, you can believe anything, because the belief becomes the evidence based on the definition of the word.
I don't disagree with that. You can believe in anything. Psychology says that the mind can convince one of anything and believe anything, like people who believe that they have dreams, or they believe that God told them when the rapture happened. The mind can convince one of everything. But for me personally, I check everything. Like, I check everything. I used to be, like I said, kind of intellectually lazy. I didn't do any research. I believed whatever I was told by anybody, because that's how I was kind of raised. But now I check everything, whether it's going to the doctor, checking ingredients in certain things for health purposes, history, etc.
How have you checked that the people who wrote this book actually heard from a God? Because that's ultimately what you have to have faith in. You have to, the first line of faith, Thinker says this all the time, the first line of faith is that the men who you never met, can't confirm existed, actually heard from a God who told them to write down the words in this book. So how can you test that?
I can't test that it initially happened, but you can go through to statistics and probability. Like the self-proclaimed Catholic Church has historical evidence of the apostles, their existence, where they lived, and they claim that they have some of them buried, right? You can go back and look in history and see claims like that. You've got historical writers like Josephus.
Wait. If we're going to bring up that, then we have to go. Yeah, and then after we do that, we realize that the Catholic Church has proven themselves to be liars throughout history, to falsify evidence. Throughout history, they have protected child rapists. Throughout history, they have shown they are not a reliable source for truth. So therefore, I'm not going to believe that they have bodies of disciples they won't let people test. They won't let any scientists look at any other evidence. No, that's not reliable. I need reliable evidence if I'm really looking at evidence.
I don't disagree with you there, based on the specific points that you brought up. and they also withheld the Bible during the Dark Ages from being translated and sharing it with other places. So I'm not.
And they told people to go get slaves, and they did freaking horrific things throughout history. They're not reliable. They have very serious financial motives and power motives, political motives to do horrific things and to continue a lie. So I have to look at other sources.
Sorry to jump in. Can I ask another thing? First off, Courtney, I do want to point out and just give some kudos that I love the way you're responding, the way you're not seeming like you're trying to
Courtney and I do this every few months, by the way.
Okay, because I was like, you
Courtney
seem so cool.
and I know each
this.
other. Yeah.
No, like
Courtney's
this
very
is
cool.
the kind of Christian that we want to have discussions with. I would so much rather be proselytized by you than some of the a-holes and the guys that try to come in and smack people around. So absolutely.
Listen, sometimes I'll have a Christian up here and Courtney will come up to fight the Christian for me and I just give it back. Okay.
That's perfect.
So she does good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to give kudos to that. So one more question I had for you, Courtney, is just curious. You probably have even heard this before if you've been doing these things long enough, but it's a little bit of what I think Fee mentioned, and I'm just curious, is there any proposition, like religious or otherwise, is there any single proposition that I could ever not believe based on faith? And by that I mean, like, couldn't, let's say, the most insane proposition, that there are like lizard people on the moon that are running the show on Earth or whatever, couldn't I believe every single proposition, even the most crazy, based on faith?
Can you explain that in a different way? I have ADHD, so when was that?
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. No. And I probably said that weirdly. Essentially, faith to me, it seems like if we were to start with it, like Fee was kind of talking about, if we were just to start with faith, then we could believe almost anything, I think. I don't know that there's anything we couldn't actually end up accepting if we started from a position of faith. Why wouldn't we accept Islam and Islamic beliefs based on faith and then go through the process of proving it? Why not believe, I don't know if you know about Snapeism. There's an actual cult of Snapeism where they worship Severus Snape as a divine immortal being that existed from beyond time and space. This is an actual thing. Go look it up. Why don't we all become Snapeists? As crazy as that may sound to us, if we're going with faith.
Snapeism? Man, who started that?
Snape. Snape did.
Snape.
I'm not kidding. It's insane. You have to go look up the story of Snapeism. It's one of the craziest micro cults I've ever heard of. Anyways, yeah, so the question is just, why would we go with faith if it could lead us to pretty much contradicting results, I guess?
I mean, we can look and see based on human behavior that people already do that. They believe something just based on different whatever leads them to believe whatever they choose to believe. Like people who believe in flat Earth, or people who believe Hinduism, or people who choose Satanism. You know what I mean? Clearly, everyone has their own subjective faith that leads them to whatever that leads them to what they choose. So that's kind of, I would say that's more human behavior, science, psychology based.
Yeah, I would say you're absolutely right. And so then at that point, I guess this ties back to what I was then kind of alluding to in my first question, which was, why would Jesus advocate for believing? Why would he put and elevate not seeing but believing on such a high level if we all understand, and he would have known, that that is a faulty method?
So when Jesus, this is purely biblical, you don't believe the Bible, then this won't be enough evidence for you, right? We already know this.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, look, you're chill, so you can go to the Bible, yeah.
People saw miracles. People saw Jesus heal people. And he did these things in front of people, and people still didn't believe. This would fall under a fallacy that Christians use as, what's it called? My brain just died.
Argument.
It's like
incredulity.
it's like seeing things and choosing not to believe it. Like, when a spouse sees that their spouse is cheating and they're like, I just don't want to believe it. Like, psychologically, you can choose not to believe something based on faith. That's human behavior, right? And Jesus saw that while he was alive. So clearly, evidence wasn't the main pushing force for faith, and they had to find something that would work, right? And seeing an evidence base wasn't consistent based on the scriptural examples.
So then following that, that was kind of, I was curious if you'd go that direction. So if I can push on this thread a little more, and then I'm sorry, everybody, that I'm hogging this, not intending to.
No. You're fine.
So then
All my
does that-
guests actually know reason. That a lot of times, if they want to cut in, they'll raise their hand in chat, and if I see it, I will cut you off and let them know that they can have a chance. Okay, so don't worry about it.
Perfect. Yes, just shut me up as soon as you need to. I will tend to outblab. So yeah. So following that, then, does it give you any pause whatsoever to think that the original people writing about these stories or telling them orally and then writing them down, does that give you any pause to realize that they were using methods that are like of faith, that possibly they were either seeing or not seeing and still not believing the supposed miracles and the events, that the very people who are founding this religion didn't necessarily have I guess good evidence for themselves even to believe it at times? Does that happen to give you any pause? I'm just curious.
Can you repeat that? My daughter said something to me and I missed half of what you said.
W parents, no, look, you're totally fine. Not even a problem. So the fact of the matter then, that even people that were near to Jesus saw events and they weren't sure they believed him. He went to his own family and his own town, right? I'm sure you remember. He went to his own town and they didn't even believe they didn't believe, and he wasn't able to do miracles, right? They saw him after he rose and they didn't even recognize him. So even the people writing these stories or telling the stories orally and then writing them down long after the fact, even they were operating out of often either arguments from ignorance, they were operating off of faith and guesswork. Does that happen to give you any pause then, knowing that even the authors were operating based off of faith mostly? It's like your faith is being based off of their faith. You're having to have faith in the faith of other people who didn't really necessarily see or believe some of the things they were writing about.
No one's ever asked me that before, honestly, like that. So I don't really have like a good answer for that. I would have to take some time to think about it. I understand.
That's very honest.
That is awesome.
What you're saying, but I mean, I'll give this may not be a parallel example, but this is a human behavior example. A lot of people will receive gossip and they'll believe it because someone told them, their friend, I trust you, and they told me this person did this. They'll believe it without evidence, or sometimes there will be evidence. There is not 100% evidence that from that time period where we can be like, yes, we saw that video, man, and we saw them receive the Holy Spirit, who was supposed to keep them 100% on what Jesus said, right? We don't have something like that, but there's evidence that supports other things in the Bible. Therefore, for me, because there's evidence that historically supports other things, even without evidence for that specific thing, I would still believe, if that makes sense.
No, that's perfectly good. And seriously, I think that was about the most honest answer you could possibly give. Like massive kudos to you. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I have a question
go right ahead.
for Courtney. Courtney, what do you do when you come across contradictions to quote unquote the history in the Bible?
When you say history, can you give me an example?
I was really speaking to what you were saying. You were saying like, you're basing your faith upon the history of the Bible, like the things that you're reading in there that I'm assuming that you're believing is true, and you're basing your faith upon it. What do you do when those things contradict? Like, for instance, the birth of Jesus, either being during the time of a census or during the time of Herod. They're like 10 years apart. So one of those can't be right, or both of those could be wrong. What do you do when things like that happen? Like, when was he really born? Was he really born? Was he born during the census? Was he born during the time of Herod? Uh, and things and other anachronisms that kind of show up in the scripture, like synagogues, because synagogues didn't exist yet. Things like that. What do you do with your faith when the things that you're counting on as true history really doesn't add up?
So my faith, like, this is me, so I can only speak for myself. Like I said, faith comes from what Jesus did on the cross. So all those other little things, you would have to sit down, do the research, do the due diligence to see historically if it lines up. Where's the contradiction? Is it a contradiction? Is it different writers who express things differently, et cetera, et cetera? That's not a contradiction that I've been told before. King Herod and the census, though I've heard about the census and both of those. That's something I would have to look into. But true faith doesn't come from little details like that biblically. You know what I mean? Someone would be like, well, if someone was able to prove that the world flood didn't exist, would your faith be shattered? Shana-na-na-na. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like,
Well,
well,
what else in your life are you like this with, though, where people bring you evidence to the contrary of what you're saying, and you go, that's just a little detail, I don't care about that? What else in your life do you just push all other information away and say, I don't care about that?
I don't think I've ever done that. Every non-believer friend that I've had, including Joyful, have intentionally challenged me. There's people like who have maliciously challenged me with things, and I'm willing to go look. You know what I mean? I've never not looked, regardless of the examples I've been given, whether I've known that verse or remembered it or not.
So then how do you
Crystal's
know
question was
Jesus ever died on the cross and resurrected? There's literally no evidence outside of that claim that is in that Bible that you said has inaccuracies and anachronisms that you find to be irrelevant. If those things are irrelevant for me, that's a book I can't trust now, because I can't figure out when it's accurate and when it's not. So if there's an anachronism about Herod, then what tells me that the story about Jesus is even true?
Crystal, also, your question wasn't about only being willing to look. It was about how do you synthesize the information that you find when it's
Yeah.
contradictory. Because ultimately, if your belief system is predicated and built upon faith, which doesn't require any sort of evidence, then there will be nothing that would convince you that it's not true, because you've already started with the fact that it is. And oftentimes, faith-based beliefs are held in the face of contradictory evidence to what's believed. Because ultimately, you could find another person who's just as faithful as you in this book and then this belief system of this God that believes something very different. How would we determine whose faith gets us closer to truth, considering the fact that you guys don't believe the same things?
That's a tough one, because you've got all these different denominations and divisions. This is me personally, and you can disagree if you want to. I personally have not been given something that I have found as a contradiction. I've noticed that it's contradicted what people have been taught in their denomination, right? Or it's been contradictory to the research maybe that they've done. Like my friend Joyful, like he's given me some stuff, and there's been times where we've disagreed, but I've found that it wasn't a contradiction, or it was kind of like a misapplication. And there's been some that I just don't have the answer to, but I would have to do the research. And then sometimes I forget because I have ADHD.
What about how Judas died? I've never heard you explain the two different stories about how Judas died.
I haven't done
There's so
research.
many very clear, concise contradictions that the only way Christians ever explain them away to us is to tell us that the words we're reading don't actually mean what they say. So one verse, Judas commits suicide, okay? Like he unalives himself. And in another story about the same thing, he like just falls down on the ground and his innards explode. those are two very different. I know I didn't know what to say. Two very different stories. They're not something that, and like I said, the only way we ever get it is for us to not really understand what hanging is, or falling and splitting yourself open means. It could mean something else. Like, and and there's nothing in my life other than this religion did I ever allow people to explain things away like that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I haven't, like I said, I haven't looked into that one. But if you talk to anyone that claims to be Christian and they just say, well, you just don't have the Spirit, and you just read it wrong, and you don't have that Holy Spirit understanding, I wouldn't talk to them anymore, honestly. Because if they're not going to take the time,
they all say that. I've never talked to a Christian then. Except you, because they all tell us that, you know.
Yeah,
you have to have
I
the
wouldn't
Holy
talk
Spirit.
to people like that. You know what I mean? If they're showing,
You need it
they're
in
showing
context.
kind of like what is it called? They're showing, well, context. A lot of people will use that, but they can't explain to you what it is. A lot of people say that.
Exactly. They'll say, what do you mean the story of David? We'll tell them the story of David, and they'll say, you're taking out all the context. Well, you didn't even know the story existed 5 minutes ago, and you're going to tell me it's out of context? What are you talking about? You know, so, yeah.
To explain what context means. Ask them to explain what that means, to see if they're just spitting out something that they've been told because they disagree.
I'm going to bring another guest up.
It sounds like, if I can ask one more thing for Courtney, it sounds like your whole faith boils down to the Jesus story. I guess I'm not even going to try to challenge this. I just want to ask, what would it mean for you? What would your opinion be if you were to find out, somehow, hypothetically, if you were to find out that maybe there isn't good reason to think that Jesus rose from the dead? What would that mean for your belief?
If they had some evidence come out that, you know, they found, well, this is exactly where he was buried and there's no DNA evidence, you know, or something like that, I would sit there and seriously look into it. Mark's claims, I would seriously look into it. I don't know if that would change my beliefs, or maybe the application of how I utilize my beliefs, I guess you would say, but yeah.
No, I think that's an honest answer. That's kind of what I was thinking. It sounds like maybe you keep the belief for the benefits that it does you, and possibly, I would dare say, even if you found out one day, or if it somehow came out that maybe it throws the whole Jesus thing in doubt and we're not sure, you would still be a believer, and you're also a wonderful person, meaning you just use that to make yourself a more wonderful person, it seems like. And but the actual details of whether Jesus was real or existed or not, I'm almost wondering if that's really all that important as far as the benefits of the belief go. So anyways, I was just curious. That great answers all around. Seriously.
Mama,
I appreciate you guys being so kind, and everyone's not like, "Grr," you know.
I try not to be that way, Courtney. Yeah, go ahead, Fee.
Courtney, is it important to you that the things that you believe are true?
Yes.
What do you think is a better methodology for reaching truth? Faith or evidence, reason, and experimentation? Which one do you think is more reliable for finding truth?
Are we talking like statistically or through life experience?
I mean, in general, like I think this would be applicable for any topic that we're discussing, because we're ultimately talking about, you know, methodology of epistemology. Like, how do you know a thing is true? And there are a couple of avenues that we have available to us as humans. Of course, there is faith that is usually associated with religious beliefs, but there are other ways of determining truth, right? So I'm just curious to know, which method do you think of the two that we're talking about, faith versus evidence, reason, experimenting, like the scientific method, if you will, which one do you think is more reliable for landing a person at truth?
I think it would depend on the truth you're talking about. If we're talking like scientific, statistical, you know, historical, et cetera, you would want, you know, DNA, historical, factual, concrete evidence. But I believe that religion it just has a different box, and it's not. It's important to have, evidence and support for
Wait,
that.
why? I am not going to believe Joseph Smith, okay? I'm not going to believe him. Are you going to believe Joseph Smith, Courtney?
No, with Joseph Smith and his.
Right? You're not going to believe it because of the evidence, right, Courtney? You're not going to believe about Joseph Smith because of the evidence. So for me, religion doesn't get a special plead. It doesn't. For me, religion also has to stand up to the same I search the truth of it out the same way I search out the truth of viruses or bacteria or history or I don't know anything else in my life. Religion doesn't get a pass.
Maybe I should reword what I said. I think faith requires faith and evidence, where history.
She said that's not what she asked, though. Repeat your question, Fee.
My question was, what is a more reliable path to truth? Faith or logic, basically. Evidence, reason, experimentation.
Logic.
So when you get at the crossroads of what's logical and a belief that you hold based on faith, how do you decide which fork to take? If you know that logic leads you more, it's more reliable to get you to truth. But you know that a lot of faith-based beliefs are illogical, i.e., talking snakes, magical fruit, all of the animals of the world being in an ark, a global flood, like all of these things do not hold up logically or scientifically in any testable way. So if you know this, and we know that faith isn't a reliable path to truth, why would it be utilized as the means to adopt a belief system that is as important as religion?
I'm thinking, because that was a long question.
I'm sorry. You want me to shorten it? I apologize. So if truth is important to you, and you know that faith is not a reliable path to truth, and you've admitted that logic is more important or is more reliable, right? When you reach that crossroads of logic versus faith, what makes faith win out?
See, no one's asked me that question before. I don't have like a, stuck in the back of my brain answer for that. And part of ADHD is sometimes I hear what you're saying and it doesn't always, I don't always answer exactly what you're asking. So forgive me if this doesn't work. I would say that from the Christian's perspective, this is not from an atheist perspective, that if you are using logic and seeking evidence and truth truly, not for any biased reason, that you will end up somewhere with one way of faith, right? If that makes sense.
Say that again for me. I think I followed you, but I just want to make sure I understood you correctly.
What you just said made me wonder, though, Courtney. Did you know that?
Wait, but before we go any further, really quick, I just want to say hi to Gritty. He's been so patient. Gritty, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 39. Thank you.
Are you a believer of a God or a higher power?
100%.
Okay, we'll be with you in just one moment, but thank you so much for being patient. Okay, I'm sorry, Reason.
No
Go
worries.
ahead.
No, you're fine. Welcome, Gritty. So, Courtney, one last thing I'll point out, and this I think sums up a bit of what a lot of us are pointing out to you. Did you know that the Mormons believe, or at least I don't know if this is fully, truly Mormon belief, but I've interacted with many of them. They have told me personally, they say, if you pray to Jesus Christ and you ask him to confirm in your heart whether the Book of Mormon is true, and you truly mean it, and you're truly looking for the truth, Jesus himself will confirm the Book of Mormon to you. And so my question is, if you were to be asked that question, essentially that sounds like what you're doing for your Christianity. And so do you see there's a I guess there's a disjunction there where you probably wouldn't accept that answer from a Mormon. You probably wouldn't believe them if they told you that Jesus himself, if you truly search out the answers and you truly ask him to confirm the Book of Mormon for you, that he will do it. And that they use that, by the way, they will say, oh, if you didn't actually have Jesus confirm it for you, then you weren't being honest. What do you think about that? Would you accept that from them?
I've heard that, but maybe I didn't explain it very clearly. I think when I say you want it with your whole heart, that's like giving it 100% of your effort. There's some people who like, well, I want to be in the Olympics, but they don't want to do all the work to get there. You have to have like a certain amount of motivation and drive to seek out the truth, or you'll end up with like half answers, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do, but I think, to be honest, if I can gently but firmly push back a little bit, I think I would posit, I think that's kind of what you're doing. And I think that you're doing the same thing the Mormons are doing to an extent. And yeah, I would just suggest maybe think about that possibly. I love the conversation we're having with you. And like I'll say it one more time, once again, you're a Christian I would happily be proselytized to. I don't say that to many, but because of how awesome
but
you are,
don't
I
do
would
it.
happily do that.
Just kidding. Um,
Don't do it.
let's go ahead and Courtney, you could stay up if you like. But I'd like to give Gritty a chance to talk with us if you don't mind. So, Gritty, which God is it that you believe in?
Jesus.
Okay. So as I was talking with Courtney here, she is also Christian. I hear Christians always tell me that you just got to have faith. That's the big part of it. And you got to have faith, and faith is good. But there is nothing in my entire life that I use faith for. And I'm using exactly the description in the Bible. So I don't want to use semantics here. Me, as I've said earlier in the conversation, relying on whether like my husband is going to be faithful to me is not faith. It is based on evidence. And whether a chair can hold me is also based on evidence. I'm talking about the faith that the Bible requires, where you believe without seeing. And there's nothing in my life that I'm like that with. And so I don't understand, why is it good?
Well, first and foremost, there's actually no evidence at all that there isn't a God. So that's what atheists have to get straight first before they go.
But that's not the
challenging people.
topic today. Today the topic is, why is faith good?
And Crystal, if you don't mind, I'd like to clarify, because atheism isn't the claim that there is no God, right? People conflate that constantly. In the same way that you aren't convinced that any other God that you don't believe in is real, you are an atheist with respects to that God. The atheism isn't making a positive claim that would need to be supported. And to Crystal's point, the topic is about faith. Like, why is it good?
So, okay. Faith is good because, let's just say, God is real. If you didn't have any faith at all, well, for one, God wouldn't be able to work with you. So faith, it opens up your heart, it opens up your mind. You're open to truth, right? Like, let's just no, go ahead. What were we gonna say?
Without faith, God can't work with you, but Jesus healed people who didn't have faith. So he was able to work with them. What evidence is there that without faith, God cannot work with me?
Oh, he could. I mean, God is not limited, right? God doesn't
Okay.
have a limit.
So then he can. So that's not the reason I need faith.
Do you believe in sin?
No, that's a Christian concept. I don't really believe in sin.
Okay, do you believe that we are born with morality?
No, not objective morality. I believe that everybody has subjective morality. That's why we don't agree.
I know, but that would be like a, I would hate to use this example, but um, you don't need to be an adult to know that you have an abusive parent, right? Let's just say you're a
Mm-hmm.
child and you can think for yourself and you're being abused in any way. And let's just say that that parent is like deeply like in the, his par- in that in their parenting ways, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take a genius, it doesn't take an adult, and then the logic
No,
thing for that child.
pain doesn't take somebody else telling me I'm hurt. You're right. Doesn't matter how young or old I am, but me feeling pain has nothing to do with morals. Objective morality means mind independent. Subjective morality means that there is a mind, that it is that we make decisions. A mind decides. If you believe that there's a God who has given you morals, you believe, sir, in subjective morality. You believe in his subjective morality. So I don't want to talk about morality, sir. I want to talk about why faith is good. You still haven't given me a reason for that very simple question.
Well, um, it faith circles around both of that, right? Because you guys are more you guys are more focused on logic, right? Like that's your guys' argument. Like
I'm sorry, are you
I do
illogical, sir?
no, I'm not.
Oh,
And
okay. Then I guess we both agree on logic.
yeah, logic is spirituality, you know?
What?
It is.
How?
Because yes, it is.
I said how. I didn't say no. I said how.
Well, you have a brain, right? You have
Yep.
a brain and it makes you think logical,
So
right?
where's the spirituality? You said logic is spirituality.
Because in the Bible it says that the law is written on our hearts,
Okay,
right?
you just are we engaging in the same conversation? Like you
I
said
don't
logic.
know.
You said logic is spirituality, and then you mentioned the brain. How are we at the heart?
Well, you wouldn't be able to even define or think or even decipher what faith is unless you weren't being logical about your questioning towards faith, right?
No, like
Yes,
I
No.
don't even.
yes. Like, well, let's
Theodora,
say,
no.
yeah. Well,
I,
let's just say you get into a car accident tomorrow and your brain dead, right? Where's your
Then I'm
logic
dead.
then?
Then I'm actually dead. By the way, my brain dies, I'm dead.
So
Just
you
want
would
you guys to know that.
exactly. So you would need a logical brain to know what faith is, right? To even have that discussion or question towards faith. You
Dude,
would need to
I'd
be
be dead. Nothing would matter. I'd literally be dead.
also, I don't think anybody said that you can conceptualize faith absent a brain. I'm pushing back on the concept of faith being, logic being spiritual.
well,
That's what
wouldn't
you said, and I
well,
don't know how we got here from there.
well, I mean,
I don't want to be dead.
it does. No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or argumentative, right? But it doesn't make sense for me to see like even the host. I think that she's like I think that she, from my perspective, and I could be wrong because I know she would strongly disagree with this, right? But I really believe that she's still on the fence of her faith. I believe that she wants evidence, right?
I think that's so funny when people say that.
Right?
That's
Like,
so funny.
and they-
I am on the fence about Santa. I kind of think he might actually still be real, but not Jesus. I'm pretty sure on that one.
the crazy part about it, Crystal, is like that wasn't even the question. Like it seems like really you're answering everything except what we're asking. And you made
Okay,
a claim
why
that
is faith good, right? Well, in the Bible, because you guys don't believe in faith at all. So if you guys want to discuss faith, you guys have to go with what the scripture says about faith. Otherwise,
Oh, I
right?
can talk about the Bible, but I assure you, this is not the panel that you want to be on to talk about the Bible because we know the Bible. We know it very well. I'm pretty
true.
sure, much better than you.
And you don't want us to do that to you right now. You want us to have this very nice conversation that we're having, because you won't survive if we start talking about your scriptures.
And Crystal, I think your topic, it's worded in such a very simplistic and easy way, right? Why is faith good? If I were to ask you, why is access to clean water good? You'd be able to tell me, like, it's because it, you know, it
Absolutely.
makes people
Health
hydrated,
benefits.
it's health
Yes.
benefits. Like, you go do that for faith. Because the only thing that you said earlier was that you're open and it opens you to truth. Well, faith opens you to anything, because you don't, it doesn't have to be true for you to accept it based on faith. So we're just asking you, what are the bullet points that you could identify as the benefits of faith? Why is it good?
So faith apart from the word is there. So you're basically asking me, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. You don't need to believe in God to have faith. So what does faith mean to me?
All right, give
Outside
me your
from the
Bible. Give me your Bible verse.
No,
Let's go.
wait. Let
you
me answer.
you want to be cooked? Let's get cooked, okay? 'Cause
No,
I've got the Bible right here. I've got all the tabs ready. So if you want to do this, we could do this. I was just trying to be nice and tell you you don't want to.
You're trying to be nice. Well,
yeah, I tried to get you to stick on this topic.
Just hold on. You know what? I love hearing you talk too. Like, okay, I love hearing you talk just as much as you like to hear yourself talk, right? But are you talking about why?
I haven't really said anything yet. Yes, why?
Let me get this out. So why is faith good? Which faith are you talking about? Is it faith from the Bible, or is
your
it just
faith?
You mind if I
your
help?
faith. Yeah, go right ahead, Courtney. You go right ahead. Hey, real quick though, you guys, thank you for 15,000 likes. I do have a gift goal today. As always, if we reach our gift goal, I will stay live an extra hour. Gifts are not expected, but they're always appreciated. And your gifts are helping me upgrade my equipment. I need a new computer, lights, microphone, all that, so that I can provide more content. So, if you want to tip, those links are in my bio. But I want to thank you guys for being here. And oh my God, you guys, Mama Bash and Fee are up here. And I am actually a little fangirling out inside right now. So Courtney, go ahead and talk with Gritty, if you will.
So I'm just going to give you some advice. And this is from dealing with non-believers. I have lots of non-believer friends and they've challenged me. And when you communicate with non-believers, I'm not saying you're doing that. This is just some advice, right? The first thing you should never do is assume that they don't know their Bible. That's definitely one of the worst things that you should ever do. And I know this from experience. Number two, biblical answers and admitting that you only have a biblical answer is to be honest. And if you have experience, be honest and say it's experience. But don't expect any non-believer to be convinced by your feelings and your experience. That won't work. Number three,
all obvious
if you can't answer a direct question, this is their perspective. This is not like,
hey, Courtney, those are all obvious. That's all obvious. Thank you. Right? Like, I get what you're saying, right? That's so obvious, right? You know,
she's just trying to help you.
No, I don't need. Well, if she's not going to answer my question on what I'm trying.
What?
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Wait, I'm just trying to understand the question on the panel. And my question was, with the question on the panel in the prompt, does it mean...
I already said why.
Wait, hold on.
I already answered.
I know. Try hard, ma'am. Try hard to listen. Okay. Why is faith good? Is it from a biblical standpoint, or is
I
it
already
just
answered
faith in
this
general?
question,
Is
sir.
it just faith in general?
She said that first
Sir,
thing, my guy.
I already answered that question. It was the very beginning of the entire conversation. So why don't you put yourself on mute now? We'll talk to Aaron for a moment. Let's see if Aaron can answer the question. Go ahead and mute up, Gritty. Gritty, mute up, please. Okay, Aaron,
muted.
are you over? You're Gritty. It says so right there, Gritty. Aaron, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yes, I'm well over 18. I'm 40 years old.
Oh, I said Muty. Well, Muty's good too. That's a perfect name. Muty, mute up. Okay. Aaron, do you believe in a God or a higher power?
I believe in a God,
Which God do you believe in?
the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the great I am, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end.
Are you Jewish, Christian, or Muslim?
Christian.
Okay, all right. So let me explain my my question to you real quick. Okay, I have talked to probably thousands of different deists and theists now, and one thing I hear from mostly Christians is that I need to have faith. I just need to have faith, and that faith is good. But when I read the definition in the Bible about what faith is, and that is, basically believing without seeing, there's nothing in my life that I do that with. Nothing. I want evidence. I want information. I don't just believe things. And so I don't understand why it's good here. So why is faith good?
Yeah, so faith is good for me, in my experience, if I understand your question correctly, in that it provides me with a sense of security, a sense of affirmation, a sense of understanding of what's going to happen after this afterlife. That I have the faith in my God, that if I do what I'm told to do, that I will receive my just reward when this life is over.
Does it matter if it's true?
I hope that was a sufficient answer, host.
Did you hear faith?
I did not, I'm sorry.
Does it matter if it's true?
It matters to me. That's what my faith hinges on.
How could you falsify it?
Clarify what you mean about how could I falsify. I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, to falsify a thing is to test it to see if it's correct, right? To run an experiment, if you will. An unfalsifiable claim is not testable. Faith-based claims, because they are not rooted in evidence, are, by definition, in most cases, unfalsifiable. So if it's important to you that what you believe is true, how would you falsify it?
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying. I didn't quite understand. So the way that I would verify that is through the different ideas of, for instance, in the book of Ezekiel, and I can get you the book, chapter, and verse. It eludes me at this moment, where it talks about enzymes that were created thousands of years before we even knew about that. It talks about the
What scripture?
I'm sorry.
What scripture are you referring to that talks about enzymes?
Sure, I can find it for you. I'd have to look it up. If you'll give me 30 seconds, I can look that up for you. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'd be more than happy to pull it up for you. Would you like for me to do that, or would you like for me to continue?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Yes,
If Crystal's okay with it, I would love to read that scripture.
Sure. Give me just a few moments, and I'll look that up for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Aaron is one of my friends.
I like that he's
okay.
actually, yeah, he's honestly answering the questions. What a change of pace. Like, he's honestly answering. He's trying to understand as opposed to just straw man against the position. We love that.
I felt bad for the other guy, man. I wanted to shana him right out of there. His Holy Spirit ran out.
He was. It's so sad. He was so.
He said he
choked for
hoped
so
I
long.
got paid. Oh, yes, TikTok pays me big bucks. Big bucks, you guys.
Oh yeah, like the 2 cents every so often. Yep.
That's why I have a goal to buy myself new equipment, because I'm getting rich on TikTok, I'll tell you. Look, if I wanted to be rich on TikTok, I would just go become a cult leader. I know how to do it. Goodness. I think any one of us ex-Christians know how to be a cult leader by now, right?
Sorry, I'm having internet issues trying to do it from my phone at the same time, so please bear with me.
While he's looking that up, I do have to just immediately point out, I'm very curious. The instant you said that it describes enzymes,
I
I don't
think
know
he's
because
talking
I've
about
talked to
Job
so many.
38:36. Are you talking about in the
Probably.
King James Version, Job 38:36, Aaron, where it says, "Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the heart?"
Yeah, that's Job 38:36.
Right, is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
sorry, I didn't realize y'all were talking. I apologize. I was looking it up. My apologies. Yeah,
That's
that's
okay.
that's one of the ones I was
Okay.
referencing. I had to get back and forth out of the app to get into my phone.
So let me see if I can get one of my wonderful rabbi friends in here to talk to you about the translation. I don't know, or maybe if Justin's available.
While you're
Yeah,
doing that, so Aaron, I'm just curious because the instant you say it talks about enzymes in the Bible, in the Old Testament, I've talked to so many Muslims who tell me, and they point to like verses in the Quran that talk about embryology before anybody knew embryology. Would you say that you would believe the Quran on faith just because it has previous scientific knowledge, or no?
sure. That's a very valid question, and if I'm being honest with you, I mean that is one of the things that you have to examine, say the Quran against the Bible. You know, and at the end of the day, how do you make those determinations? It all comes back to faith. I know that sounds like circular reasoning, but that's me trying to be as honest as I possibly can with an answer.
I believe
And what
you. I
else
believe that you're
do
trying to be
you
honest. Yeah.
do that with? Like in your life, what else do you allow circular reasoning to be enough? But my friends don't seem to be available right now. If my mods see one of the rabbis pop in, I guess Justin is live, but if you see one of the rabbis pop in, please go ahead and bring them up for me. But what I looked up says the Job 38:36 in Hebrew says, and please forgive me, I'm going to butcher it. It says, Mishat. Oh, you're going to need a mute. I'm getting a echo of myself. Okay, it says Mishat bat tuhat hakma. Tuhat means kidneys, inner organs, and sometimes metaphorically intuition. Ancient Hebrews thought the kidneys housed wisdom and emotions, and Thinker has talked about this. Like she is. Rabbi Hannah is here. Okay, is she in the box? I'm going to invite her up so we can have her tell you, because I would rather somebody who speaks Hebrew talk about this. Hi, Rabbi Hannah. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
We are in Job 38:36 right now.
All right, hold on. Let me get there. Job 38:36.
Yes, I'm going to read it to you in the King James Version because that is where people originally get the idea that this means something specific, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it says in the King James Version, "Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the heart?" And because of this, people believe that wisdom in the inward parts has to do with enzymes, DNA, and biochemistry. What are your thoughts on the actual Hebrew in that verse and what it was trying to
Hold on, let me look. Mishat batuhat chachma o mit natan la sekvi bina. Oh. Yeah, so Chokhmah is like lived wisdom. So it and Bina is like our ability to perceive patterns, discernment, distinctions. That is what Bina means. And then we have Tukhot and Safi, which are difficult to put into English, but they kind of gesture towards like our intuition and our perception more than just our mere cognition. So the verse is kind of pressing the question that wisdom originates, not locating it, not in human mastery per se, or human like in human understanding, but a gift that's given to you by the divine. So yeah,
Okay.
not DNA.
Well, I learned something today, and I was wrong. Thank you for telling me that.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So
Yeah,
again, my
Hokmah is
question, I
the
guess,
wisdom.
is okay. It's the wisdom then. So, what in your life? I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Courtney earlier. That when you're presented with evidence to the contrary of what it says or what is true, what else in your life do you say, well, I'm just going to have faith that it is what I think it is, regardless of all other information to the
Yeah,
contrary?
that's a really hard question. And I want to be honest here. I mean, because I mean, I got nothing to gain. You don't know me, I don't know you. But let's just be honest. I don't know where that line is. You know, I think that's an ambiguous line to cross of, you know, what all has to be proven false before you no longer believe it, or how many times does something have to be proven false before you no longer believe it? Is it 1? Is it 5? Is it 7? You know, where's that line?
Yeah.
And again, I know this is probably not what you want to hear, but it does come back to just having a faith. Again, that's a circular reasoning. How much circular reasoning do we allow in life versus the Bible? I can't answer that question for you. I don't know. But that's
No,
just
I'm
me being
asking you for you. I can
Yeah.
answer it for me. I don't
Sure.
allow it anywhere in my life.
Sure.
I don't
sure.
allow circular reasoning in my life because I will not progress. I will go in a circle. I want to progress in life in everything I do. And so once I am presented with information contrary, if I am able to prove that the new information overrules the old information, I move forward with the new information given to me. I was taught, for instance, that spanking children was not only good for them, but you know, it's just the godly thing to do too. You didn't have to do it hard. You just needed to do it to discipline them. It let them know. It I don't know what the fuck it did. Anyway, as a parent, my first child, I tried it like 1 or 2. I didn't like it. I didn't feel that it did a goddamn thing other than make me feel like a shitty human being and made my child cry. And then I felt it put enmity between me and my child. And with this new information, I realized I don't have to fucking do what my parents did. I don't have to be the parent that they were. I don't even like the parent that they were. So I took the new information and I tried some new things that had to do with whatever was going on at the time. Like, is he having problems with anger control when he's playing video games? Maybe it's time that he put video games away and we go read a book together or something else, or go outside and play. But I don't need to spank him because it wasn't doing shit. And so I don't use circular reasoning in anything in my life. And yet you've told me several times up here that for your faith, you'll do it constantly without question. Why?
I don't know. I mean, that being honest, I don't know. I do have a question for you. At what point in time, if let's use your analogy of spanking. If spanking was proven to work, and that information that you were given before was incorrect, would you then change your mind again? As new information is presented, are we consistently changing our minds, or do we have to continue to verify the new claims into what level of verification?
I always
there is?
verify claims,
Yeah.
especially if they're in contrary or seem absolutely ludicrous to what we know scientifically. Like, you're going to have to prove to me that it doesn't do irreparable harm for me to hit my child. That's going to take a lot of fucking data. That's going to take my child telling me it doesn't hurt him. That's going to take a lot of shit. But I'm willing to look at it. You're going to have to provide like a whole bunch of goddamn data and my child telling me it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah, and just for the record, I wasn't saying that I approve or deny. I was just running on that train of thought that you'd given for that example.
But of course, I change. If I didn't change, then I would have never stopped believing in the God.
I think too that if we're talking,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I was just going to add that I think that if we're talking about like your question earlier, I thought was really interesting because you said, how many times does something have to be proven wrong before you abandon it? And I'm paraphrasing here. I know this weren't your exact words, but I think faith-based systems of belief are often more about loyalty as opposed to truth. Because if you like, there are things in the Bible that as adults, I certainly hope we accept that. I've never met a woman that came from a man's rib. Like I've never met a human that did not come through the womb of a woman, right? So this etiological story, origin story about the beginning of humans is only one of many. But when we look at these claims that we have accepted as truth, or we look at these prophecies, and I'm using the air quotes here, that, have to be reinterpreted and, oh, well, it actually was referring to this. So it hasn't come true yet. I mean, it seems that it's less about discovering what's true and more about showing loyalty to what you already believe. And to Crystal's point, when new information is available, people who are intellectually honest with themselves adjust. Like it would be crazy for me to say, oh no, horse riding and carriages are way more efficient in 2025. No, like we've got cars. To refute the evidence that we see right in front of us for the purpose of holding on to what we already believe works in no other area of our lives. And it doesn't work in this one per se either, because you don't necessarily get any benefit from following these belief systems that are measurable, that are consistent, or that are even testable.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I didn't take any offense to you paraphrasing there. I said a lot, and it's hard to get it exactly verbatim. I guess my question then would be, if let's say that you're a believer and someone presents you with facts that go contrary to what you believe, would you then say, okay, well, this has to be wrong because of this fact? But if somebody brings up something else, say, and I'm just going to come up with an example, say about Roman history, and they give you a fact and it's proven to be correct, and what you thought before was wrong, does that make all of Roman history wrong, or does that just make that part of it wrong? I guess and I'm not making a case that part of the Bible is true, part of the Bible is not. I'm just trying to extrapolate a greater understanding. Is that fair?
I think that's a valid question. And I think you're right. Like there are true things in the Bible. Like the Bible captures like wars or battles that actually happened, but there are also incorrect and anachronistic references in the Bible as well. So, I don't think the purpose of Crystal's Live, and I know the purpose of us having these conversations online, is not to say that, hey, all of this shit is wrong. No, I mean, there's some accurate things in there.
Right.
But I guess it comes down to the individual. I'm personally not going to really care how much is accurate in a book that thinks that the God in the book thinks rape is okay as a punishment for a woman.
Exactly.
I'm not going to care how many accurate predictions it makes when it talks about, God's consecrated people bashing babies' heads against rocks. So at that point, I'm going to go ahead and unsubscribe, right? So, and I do think that it's an individual thing because my scale is going to be different than your scale. What'd you say?
Oh, I was waving to Stella Nova.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
No,
I think it is
I agree. And I think that, like you've said this a million times too before, Fee. The thing is that, right, like I can believe some things to be true in any book or whatever, and I can look at it and go, okay, well, like this book. But once you start getting into extraordinary claims, then I'm going to go, okay, where's the evidence? Like, so when you ask me, like, just because some things are not true in Roman history, well, yeah, if you tell me that Nero rose from the dead, I'm going to question shit like that too, right? Like, I'm going to question anything that's extraordinary, right?
Yeah, sure. And I think that's what we should do. My point to that would be, though, does that change? And the guest, I think it's Fee or Faye, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name.
Fee.
Fee, thank you. I didn't want to mispronounce your name because your name's important and I need to get it correct. I think to Fee's point, yeah, there can be things in there that are true and there can be things in there that are wrong. And it comes down to faith. Host, you and I, we are on opposite ends of the spectrum. But I appreciate you having me up and having this open discussion. And I'll be honest
Before
with
he
you.
goes,
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, 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 no. You've been so respectful, and yeah, we love to see that. Before you go, can I just ask one question? I wanted to just give you something to challenge you a little bit. This is kind of something similar to what I asked Courtney, but you just to bring it back all full circle to the question, the big question up on the screen, and you kept just coming back to, well, we just have to have faith, and we just have to have faith. If you and I, we're just sitting there chilling, hanging out, shooting the shit, and there's a let's say an Islamic, scholar or believer that's talking to us, and we're asking him about his faith and everything. And if he were to tell you that you need to believe the Quran, and when he got through all the reasons, we go through all the verses, he brings up stuff about embryology or what have you, right? And then he comes back to just saying, well, you just have to have faith. Would you accept that answer? And would you seriously consider converting to Islam on the basis of that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Albeit a bit loaded, but it is a fantastic question. Yeah.
Granted, it is, yes.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, and I'm going to continue to be honest, yeah, I have my faith and my belief in my Bible and my God. And so, no, I would not take it simply as that. For me, I wouldn't be able to do that. And that's me. And I really admit that I'm the person that is dogmatic in my faith, that I have it, that it's mine. But I readily admit that there are inaccuracies, historical inaccuracies in that book that I subscribe to. Is that fair?
I think you're being as honest with it as you can be, to be honest. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I'm not trying to say, I'm up here, I have all the answers, because I don't. I don't know. And I'm okay admitting I don't know. And I appreciate you guys having me up. Thank you for the respectful back and forth.
Well, thank you so much
That's
for
why we
coming
love
up.
it.
If you would, host, go ahead and drop me down. I'd appreciate it.
Okay, I can do that. If you are a believer in a God or gods or a higher power, the guest box is open, and we just want to talk today about why is faith good. You guys, thank you for the 23,000 likes. I will be ending the live in about an hour and a half unless we reach the gift goal. The gifts are never expected, but they're always appreciated. And if you are enjoying my amazing panel, make sure you send a few square, why can't I talk today? SpongeBob SquarePants. What? Send them one of those things, okay? So how are you today,
Yes.
Rabbi Hannah? Let me just say hi
Toss
to
a
everybody.
coin to
How
your
are
rabbi.
you? Yes, do it. A shekel or two.
A shekel or two. Yeah. I'm doing okay, actually. I was in another live. I helped mod another live, and I was sitting as mod, and I just had to keep explaining to this person, just because someone disagrees with you, you don't get to call them the Antichrist. Like, you have to stop doing that. Like, if you want to stay here, you have to realize that just because someone doesn't agree with your theology doesn't make them the Antichrist. You have to stop doing that.
True.
It's weird that and then of course I had to use the line, I'm not exactly sure why the middle of my sentence keeps interjecting with the first of yours.
Yeah, I never
Hit him
understand
with that.
that
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry you interrupted me.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
I'll bring up one more friendly, but then I might drop y'all back down because I'd love to have Mama Bash and Fee and the rabbi and stay up with me, but we're getting a little friendly heavy here, and then nobody.
Yeah, I'm not a friendly. I don't even like you.
I know you actually do have a faith, so I could just ask you the question. Hey, Rabbi, why is faith good?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know that it is good. I think faith is neutral.
Okay.
I think faith can produce good things, but equally, if you put your faith in something toxic and abhorrent, it can produce bad things. So I don't think faith inherently is what is good. It is what you do with that faith and where you put that faith that makes it good or bad.
Hey, Deconstruction, Deacon, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I will actually drop down pretty quick. I just wanted to come back and give an update on my news.
Oh, yeah. You were going to give me an update. I forgot how to go.
Did. And I've been like in the same lives as you like all day, so I've kind of been excited to tell you. So I kind of I did the interview yesterday with the nonprofits and Truth Wanted, and I got the gig.
Yay! That's so exciting. I have decided I like when you all share your news on my show because I've had several people tell me that they like to just come up and talk on my lives, and I think that's cool. So if you ever have some good news to share, feel free to pop up here and share it with us, and that's amazing. Congratulations.
I enjoy the shared excitement too. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'm nervous as shit, but I'm excited.
You
And,
got
Congratulations.
now, and hopefully we can get some ops in here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for coming up. Appreciate you. Okay, so okay, Courtney, thank you for coming up. You were amazing. Please feel free to come back anytime. You guys make sure you're following Courtney. She's amazing. A unicorn, as we say.
Thank you
Bye,
guys. I
Courtney.
really appreciate you.
See ya.
Thank you. Okay, Rabbi, so here's the next question I was asking all the Christians, okay? So
Ask away.
if faith is just neutral,
Mm-hmm.
what else in your life do you use faith to like determine your truth?
Oh, well, I would say that partially, my wife, I have faith in our relationship that no matter what we face, we are going to work through it. But that is not just based in faith, that's based in the knowledge that we have a history of working through things. So that past knowledge helps my faith predict that our future is also going to look similar, that we will work through things and that we will be side by side in whatever we face. And in that is, I would say that helps solidify that the truth of my worldview is that I have faith in my relationship. But again, that faith is based in like the knowledge I have of our history together. I think it would
Now-
be more when we were first married, I had faith that our future would be good because we didn't have that kind of history. But that faith is now built upon a foundation of history.
And faith is not the same for Jewish people as it is for Christians because I don't
No.
think you guys have the definition in the Bible like they do. They have a definition that tells them that faith is basically believing in the unseen. Okay, that's basically what it boils down to. What is faith for a Jewish person? Is it just believing in God even though you can't see him?
No, because you can be an atheist Jew and still be a good Jew. So faith is, our religion is not built in faith. Our religion is built in praxis. The foundation of our religion is action. What you believe is not the same as what you do. What you do is what matters in the world. Well, you can think whatever you want, but how you put that into action is what the tangible effect is. And that is what determines what kind of person you are. Like I can think all day that I want to go punch somebody in the mouth. Am I going to actually go punch somebody in the mouth? Or am I going to give them the grace to explain to them, I'm not going to punch you in the mouth because I understand the consequences of that. I mean, there are days, don't get me wrong.
I was going to say,
But-
I don't know. I can picture you in a Denny's parking lot.
I mean, that one of the reasons, and this is partially connected, one of the reasons I stopped being on live so often was I was getting that feeling in my stomach that I used to get in my 20s right before I cracked somebody in the jaw. And so I had to step back. I told my wife it was making me feel these feelings that I did not like. Because people were getting on my nerves and they were being intentionally obtuse and just horrible to other people in my space. I don't care what people say to me. I don't care about people's opinions enough for that to affect me. But when I see somebody objectify or be abject to another person, that's what gets me in my feelings. But to answer your question, Judaism isn't built on faith. So our concept of faith is different very much. It isn't we don't believe in something that we can't see. Everything is tangible to us. We see the action and we have faith in the action. And so that's more of a tangible experience for us than faith in the unknown. I do say oftentimes, though, certainty is the enemy of faith, because if we were convinced of everything, we would have no reason for faith.
I also think that the where it's placed is important. In these conversations, I think many Christian believers use faith as the foundation of their belief system, and that's where it becomes problematic, because it can be manipulated, right? Like Rabbi Hannah was talking about the fact that the foundation, it seems, of the faith that you're speaking about is in the actions of the human being, how you're behaving, what you're doing, how you're showing up, as opposed to just what you say. So when your faith becomes the foundation of your belief system, it's this placeholder. It's like a fill in the blank. Anything can be put in there. It can be manipulated. It can be dependent on personal experiences. It could be even used to justify harmful beliefs, because the belief itself becomes your foundation. So a lot of times people conflate the ideas of the various usages of faith. But to Crystal's point, the New Testament has that definition in it that tells you that it is the belief in things that you do not see, is certainty based on things that you cannot observe, and that can be absolutely anything. Any belief system that you can hold can be held based on faith, and it does not have to be true, and that's extremely dangerous.
Right.
Agree with that. I think that when we and sometimes our faith is manipulated. I mean, if we look at and I won't say that Christianity holds the only place that faith is manipulated, because I know Judaism has leaders that have manipulated people's belief and their action. So I think, but I see it a lot in televangelism, where people's faith is manipulated, and they do so to people who tend to be on the poorer spectrum of society, where they're selling pieces of heaven almost. If you give me money, then you're guaranteed to have this place in heaven, and they are doing this on they're preying on somebody's faith in and belief in good things.
I mean, I look at it when I first started deconstructing. I think the concept of faith was a really difficult one for me to unpack, because I would always hear about people saying, you have to grow your faith, but it's interesting, because how that concept of it growing, what does that mean? And based on the definition of the word, it ultimately means that the more I'm disappointed and the more that I don't see what I've been told I should see, that's what makes my faith grow. And it's interesting, because it creates this, I don't know, this contention of sort, because if faith grows with practice, then is doubt and questioning part of that growth process, or is it suppression? And that's where the issue comes up with it being the foundation, considering what the definition of it is.
I have a question for the Rabbi. Rabbi, are you saying that for you, do you have a faith that Yahweh exists, or no?
I'm agnostic to it. So I'm an agnostic theist. So
Okay.
most of the time, I'm comfortable in the mystery, because eventually I'm going to find out one way or the other. And so I'm kind of comfortable in the not knowing. And Judaism doesn't really, we don't really have a concept of, well, we have to believe in God to be a good Jew. And so for me, most of the time, I'm just agnostic, where I'm comfortable in not knowing. Generally, on the days that I'm absolutely a theist, it's generally because I want to beat his ass in a Denny's parking lot, and I'm going to put on some iron knuckle dusters and bow up. Because we know he can't beat Iron Chariot, so I figure if I put on some iron knuckle dusters, he's bound to go down.
I love that answer.
I do too. Reason, did you have any questions for Rabbi Hannah? Have you met Rabbi Hannah before? I'm so sorry.
It is very nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I would actually love to, if that ever becomes needed. For example, so I don't have a lot of Jewish friends, but and rabbi friends, but I may potentially at some point in the future, I might need a rabbi that can kind of straighten out, because Christians have a tendency to try to argue for what they think like the Hebrew Bible is saying, you know? I don't
Yes.
know. Could I sent you a follow. Could I potentially tag you in occasionally if I need to? I don't have any real
Absolutely.
plans to go live at any point in the future, near future, but it's likely to happen.
Absolutely.
So
I a lot of the people in the deconstruction world here on TikTok send up what I call the rabbi signal. So I get messages. Can you help with this Hebrew, or would you help explain Isaiah 53 for the 17,000th time?
yeah,
Or
exactly. That's the one. Yes.
Yeah, can you come in with Psalms 22? I'm like, that's not what that says. Yeah. Or
That's
I had one
perfect.
today who admitted that they retrofit Christianity over the Hebrew Bible. And I'm like, stop doing that. Like, why are you doing that?
Yes, exactly. Well, it's so nice to meet you. And also, yeah, I loved your answer. Like, your answer to what faith was. To be honest, if we had more theists that were treating faith like that, redefining it to mean works that they do, I think that'd be just quite a bit less toxic and a little bit less problematic, to be honest. I'll give you that one.
I don't know. I would hope so. I think that what happens is, especially in Judaism, we're pretty insular people. So we don't actually talk too much about the way we treat the world or what we believe we're supposed to be doing in the world with Gentiles. Whereas being a rabbi, it's kind of my job to go through. Generally, if you talk to your average Jew, they may say, well, we're not going to talk about this, or they will brush you off. Whereas I'm like, yeah, I can answer that for you. You may not like the answer, but I can answer it for you.
Well, when they're as knowledgeable and respectful as you are, I say, yeah, I'm fine with hearing the answer from that. We'll take that. Awesome. So nice to hear
Well,
from
I
you.
want to warn you, I'm very spicy at times. Crystal can attest to it.
That is such
that's
an
fine.
understatement for what she is. Yeah, her middle name could be spicy.
My middle
I am
name could
telling
be
you.
spicy. My middle name is actually Shifra, which is a form of judgment. So I think that's kind of funny. My
That's
name
about
is
right.
Hana Shifra.
Yes.
So yeah,
Rabbi,
I match
are you-
energy.
I have a question, Rabbi. Are you supposed to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength?
So supposed to is not a question we ask in Judaism. So the Torah for us is a conversation. It's an ongoing conversation. And a lot of that conversation is bickering with God. A lot of that conversation is telling God off and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What made you do this? We have a midrash, which is a story that we use to help us understand the text, called the Oven of Hachnai. And in that story, there are three rabbis who are arguing over a piece of law. One of them says, well, let's get us the divine voice. We're going to get the divine voice in here, and that way we know what the law is supposed to mean. And the divine voice shows up and starts to explain the law. And the other two rabbis say, go the hell away. You gave us the Torah. The Torah belongs to earth now. We don't need you. We'll call you if we need you. You need to go fuck off somewhere, and we'll let you know. That is the Jewish conversation with God. Is that love God is not the way that with all your heart and all your might is not the way that Christianity, I think, overlaps it. I love Torah.
Yeah, like with Christianity, that's a commandment, right?
Yeah,
With-
yeah. It's we don't call it commandments in Judaism. They're called the utterances,
Gotcha.
or the words. And I love Torah. I wouldn't do this job if I didn't have a complete love for Torah, and I love the work that I do. I came out of emergency surgery, and the first two things that I woke up to remembering was my wife and Torah. I am deeply embedded with the love of Torah. God, on the other hand, he and I got beef.
Gotcha.
Your passion is pretty infectious, to be honest. Awesome.
Hello, Sunny. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I thought if this was like question the rabbi hour, if I could ask a question, if she does not mind.
Oh, I do not mind at all. Please go ahead.
Hi, so I've never actually met you, so it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I've heard you say before, like how the Jewish people, like it's okay to question, it's okay because, like you said, literally, it's wrestle with God. It's like,
Yes.
what do you say to like Christians when they're like, no, we're not meant to judge God. We're not here to question our faith. Doing that is just blasphemy alone. Like, how do you push back against that? Because I think it's wrong to even question their beliefs.
I asked them how little do they think God is? How small do you think God is that he can't handle you questioning him?
Okay.
Like, or how big do you
They
think
always
you are?
point to Job, and they point to the verse in Job where God says, like, were you there? Like, who do you think you are talking to me like that?
Yeah, I use two things. How big do you think you are that your questioning God could shake God? Or how little do you think of God that he cannot handle your questions? When everyone in the text has questioned God. Abraham questioned God, said, shall not the Lord of all of the earth do right? Moses questioned God, why are you sending me? I'm nothing but, I'm slow of tongue. I'm a schmuck. Why do you want me to go and do this? People in the text have questioned God. So to say that we cannot question God because it's blasphemy, it flies directly in the face of the text.
Yeah, so nowhere it says like it's a sin, right? Because like I was like in just some, I don't even know the video. It was on some creator, and I got into a little debate in the comment section that I was like, if God didn't want us to question him, he wouldn't have, like, if God existed, because I'm an atheist, I don't believe this, but presupposing he does exist and he created us, he wouldn't create us to think logically if we were not supposed to question him. We think critically.
That
And
is
then they're like, no, it's a
absolutely
sin to
correct.
question. It's a sin. You cannot question God. He is our
But
creator.
it
Who are
doesn't
you?
say that. There's nowhere in the text that it says you cannot question God. People argue with God all the time. Moses said, if you're going to treat the people of Israel like this, you can erase me from your books because I want nothing to do with you.
hmm
So to say that we cannot question God is, I don't know where that comes from. In Christianity, I don't know where the idea that it is a sin to question God comes from. It's
It
not
comes
in the
from
text.
Job. It comes
Job
from Job.
questioned God.
But what part of that though?
Job
I'll pull
questioned
it up
God.
for you.
Yeah, didn't he say like,
Okay.
why I've been faithful? Like, why are you doing this to me?
He actually says, if you're going to treat me like shit, you can do it to my face. And then God shows up in the whirlwind and gives him all this bunk of, were you there? Were you there when I
That's
created
the
the world?
verses. It's Job 38:4. Where were you when I said when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. So they use that to say, God tells you right there, you weren't there when I started everything. You don't understand. So you don't have a right to
So
question.
that's why I get to question, because I don't understand. So fucking explain it to me. That's how I see it. But again, we don't see Job the same way either. Yeah,
No, you don't.
I question God all
No,
the
you
time.
don't.
Like I told Mama down there, Mama Bash, on the days that I'm an absolute theist, it's generally because I'm in a Denny's parking lot ready to beat his ass, because if Jacob could do it, Hannah can do it.
Yeah, and that's where I heard you say that story before, like how like you do it, and you don't feel anything wrong with it, and you feel like that's what, your people are meant to do. And
Yeah,
so
we are
it's
called
just
the
so
God
weird how
wrestlers.
their Christians are completely opposite. Like, oh no, we can't do that. We can't question. We dare not.
Yeah, I have a close family member who is a Christian, who, when upon hearing that Jews wrestle with God, became very upset, and to the point where he got kind of spicy with me and was like, "That you're blaspheming God," and I'm like, "No, that's for you. Like, my belief system is something that is completely entirely different, and how I feel about God and how you feel about God are just different. I will bow up against God any day of the week. He's known where I live for 49 years of my life. I have not missed a day on earth. So if he had a problem with what I had to say, he knows where I live and he can pull up and catch these hands. My hands are rated E for Elohim."
Rabbi, what you're explaining, kind of that's actually, I resonate with that a ton, because that's very similar to how and why I allowed myself to even start deconstructing, because I thought, you know what, if this God I believe in is big enough, then he can handle the questions. And He can handle the investigation. And if once I lost all my faith and all my belief, and I realized I didn't have good reasons to believe, then the tail end of that was saying, well, at the end of my life, at the end of the day, he's big enough. He knows that I don't have, or sorry, he knows that I have reasonable doubts and reasonable questions for why I don't believe. So he's not going to hold that against me. So it was kind of what you're describing that allowed me to even think that I can question this. Because before that, the Christian mindset, it's exactly what Sonny is saying. I couldn't, I had a block, a literal mental block preventing me from even trying to engage in honest questioning of the belief. It's such a bizarre thing to think about.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I thought that. And it's mostly because I had a lot of Christian friends, and I remember I was mad at God about something, and I said that to my own mother. I said, mad at God, and she goes, go yell at him about it. And I was like, you can't yell at God. You're not supposed to yell at God. And she looked at me and said, oh, I guess you think you must be the Kohen HaGadol, which is like the high priest. And I was like, no, why? Well, how big do you think you are that you go out there, little Hannah is going to yell at God, and suddenly that's going to shake the foundations of the world? And I was like,
even one of the most popular psalms was my God, why have you forsaken me?" Right? I think like even the psalmists cried out to God.
David
and
yelled
complained.
at God all the time. The Psalms are basically twofold. You either have David saying, God is great, I love him, God is awesome, or you have David going, why the fuck did you put me in this, but I'm still going to believe in you.
Right.
Well, thank you for
And
that. I enjoy. Oh, go ahead.
David was a man after God's own heart too, and they don't like to think about that. Like if you know what I mean. Like
Yep.
First of all, I don't know why. I mean, maybe I do know why. He's exactly like God, just a selfish prick. But yeah, that's probably why. Never mind. I think I talked myself
David
into
David is a man after God's own heart, and David does some very interesting things, which makes me go, well, if this guy is after your own heart, then how come people hate my ass? Like, what are we doing here? And that's weird. Yeah.
And would you mind a couple other questions? If Crystal, if you don't mind,
as
I
long
can
as
get
it's
off
okay
if
with
you're...
Crystal. As long as it's okay
I'm
with Crystal, it's fine with me.
Today I was talking about faith anyway, and Rabbi was very generous to let me ask her the same questions. And as long as she likes to teach, by the way, and so I as long as she doesn't mind, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Oh yeah, it's fine with me as long as it's okay with Crystal.
Yeah.
Okay. So my other question is, Jewish people don't define God as having like all the omni properties, right?
No, we do not.
So like he's like how is he defined then? Like does he know like what you're gonna do tomorrow? Does he know that? Does he?
No, because then that would get in the way of free choice. So we don't believe in free will, but the text talks about free choice. I set before you the choice between life and death, and I tell you to choose life. That is our understanding of free choice. But the text does not demonstrate a God that has the omni properties. The text demonstrates a God that has to ask Abraham what he should do about Sodom and Gomorrah, and says the words, I have heard, but I have not seen. I mean, I will give you that. Yes, Mateo. There are some Jews, you will find some Jews that believe God is omni. Overwhelmingly, the Jews that I know and that I talk to do not, based on the texts showing out that God does not have omni properties. God does not know that what David is going to do, because he sends Nathan to yell at him post hoc. If you wanted more women, if you wanted more land, if you wanted more, you could have asked. But sola scriptura is not a thing in Judaism.
Oh, then, so another question regarding that. So, like, I always say, like, I feel like, so I am an atheist, but of course, there's always that small percentage, maybe he is real. And so I always say, like, if, when it comes judgment time, like, God would know what's in my heart. Do you believe that way too? Like, God would see and look in you and see, like, like you meant to do good, or like, how would you believe as a
So
Jewish
the
faith?
way that I believe, and it's kind of in line with the way that Judaism is, there's a belief that everyone goes to Olam Haba, which is the world to come. My belief is that I will have to sit before God with my book of life and the Satan, who is God's prosecutor, by the way, not Satan. I don't understand. That's a whole other, but anyway, and answer for the choices that I made. What made you do this? What made you do that? Why did you do this? And then I have a few choices. I can choose to gigul, which is to reincarnate, to spin up. I might say, hey, I don't think I merited enough Torah, earth side. I think that I want another chance to repair the world some more. Or I may say, you know what, I've done it enough. Because I don't know how many times I've tried to do this. I may say, hey, I'm done. My soul is done. I would like to go on with the source. I would like to be done with it. But we don't have a coalesced. I know that if I have to stand before God and the worst thing he says about me is that I was gay, I'm like, I don't conceive of a God that would create me a way than just to hate me.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And then that
it's
brought up
called gigul. Sorry, somebody asked. I never heard of Jewish reincarnation. Yeah, it's called gigul. It means to spin up.
It sounded like you said giggle.
Yeah, gigul. To spin up.
Yeah, that's new to me as well.
I have
Yeah,
another
well, like
question.
I said, we don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question.
Ask away.
Yesterday, I was talking to a guy, and he got really, really stuck. He was a Christian in this whole thing called divine command theory.
Yeah.
And so, of course, then he would unalive his baby, if God asked him to. Do Jewish people have that same kind of...
Hell no. I would beat his ass.
Okay.
You asked me to do what now? I mean, Abraham played chicken with God. Like, Abraham literally was like, you promised me a nation and now you say I got to do this. Fine, we're going to see who pulls first, motherfucker. And who pulled first? God went, no, don't do it. So, like, to me, if God came to me and I knew with absolute proof this is God, and he's like, you have to unalive one of your children, I'd be like, bitch, you asked the wrong one, because it ain't going to be me.
Mama Bash, your son said the most intelligent thing I've ever heard regarding that. He said, I would just tell him no, and then the next day ask for forgiveness. I was like, why don't other Christians say that? Yeah, that came from Bash. I was like, that's like the smartest thing I've heard.
You know what? Can I come back?
So much sense.
Yeah.
My best friend needs to call me over something, so
Okay.
I'll be back.
Come on back. Okay.
Bye,
I
Rabbi.
love that.
Yeah, my answer, even when I was a Christian, definitely would have been, because I was asked this one time, and it was one of those first hard-hitting questions. My answer would have been, even if I was convinced it was a God, I would say, no, you're the all-powerful one. I would say, you do it. You know that I can't do this. You could do it if you wanted a child deleted. I would just say, no, you do it.
What's
Because of
interesting
this.
about Bash is... I apologize.
Go ahead. No, you go
I
ahead.
was going to say, what's interesting about Bash's answer is that Christians will tell you all day long that they sin. Like, they sin all the time. They sin every day.
Right.
They're always asking for forgiveness, right? But when it comes to something like this, they would just have to do it. And that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. So when he said that, like, I never thought of it either. So when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, why have I never heard a Christian say that?
That's
Like,
brilliant.
that makes
This
so much
person
sense.
in comments clearly is not listening to the conversation, because they said this panel in a nutshell is, well, if I was God, and none of us have been talking about if we were God. We're literally talking about if God asked us to do something. I don't understand why people comment on like it as if there's a different conversation going on. But I always I literally, because of the stupid Isaac story, I used to cry praying that God never asked me to do that. And that is the saddest thing, because I do have mental health issues. And those mental health issues, if I have it in such a level, I could hallucinate. And what if I had hallucinated that he had asked me that. I wasn't even sure what I was going to do. I just would pray. I would just cry and pray, please, God, never ask me to harm my children. Don't do that. Please, 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 please don't do that. That's already a mind fuck to just be that scared that God would ask me to do something.
Crystal, do you know the story of Andrea Yates? I'm sure probably some of us
Yes,
do.
it broke my heart
That's
at the time
exactly
because
it. Yeah.
I had postpartum depression with my third child. It was so
Oh my
horrible.
God.
And when I heard her story, and I was in the Midwest at the time, so if it just struck home, I broke my heart for everybody
Yeah.
involved. But I felt, God damn you, people did such a disservice to this woman because she deserves to have her children, and she would have them if anybody would have listened to her.
I know.
Luckily, my husband wasn't like, he was like, listen, we're going to the doctor, okay? And I was like, okay, that's good. Let's do that thing then, huh? Yeah, that was good. There wasn't a question. It was, this is what we're doing today.
It's good to actually take care of the mental health, not just put it off. I have family members that have absolutely struggled very heavily with mental health, and growing up in the 90s, which is when I was growing up, even then it really wasn't taken care of nearly as much, and so they were it was the well, pray it away kind of situation, and that didn't work for one of my family members, and there was, yeah, I'm not going to say too much about all that. It was tough. I got you.
Yeah, that I hate that mindset. I don't know if you follow Trust But Verify, but he holds space in his life for anybody that is struggling can come up. And every time someone is up, you hear the Christians in chat just saying, oh, this is why you need Jesus. If you had Jesus, this wouldn't be happening. You just need to give it all to Jesus. And the only reason you need therapy is because you don't have God. It's horrible.
Exactly what they were saying. Yep. And it was like, no, that didn't stop. Yeah, some of my family members anyways. Yep.
And then it makes you go, now, I'm sorry, I know this kind of going to take a little turn, but this is what I think of. These people today say, you wouldn't have mental health issues if you would just turn to God. And yet the people who told them about this God literally ate food cooked over shit while in psychosis. That's who they learned about this God from.
That is a great point. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, consider who you're getting this story from, who you're getting this God from. Consider what they did. They weren't the most stable people in the world.
Exactly. And there were so many things I mean, just you almost cut your son in half, and you're the one I'm supposed to be learning about this God from, but I shouldn't go see a doctor about mental health issues. Okay, none of that sounds right to me. Hi, Auntie Charlene, how are you?
I'm doing well, Crystal. How's everyone doing? Can you hear me?
We're doing, yeah, we're doing well.
I was wondering, since I was listening, I wanted to share something, and I was hoping this would be kind of the place I could do it since of how the conversation is going. I don't know if some of you may know that my daughter, who I live with, suffers with mental issues. And she is a diehard Christian. I mean, it's to the point where she calls God her daddy, and not in the way that my daddy gonna do this and my daddy gonna do that and my daddy said this. You know what I'm saying? And she's schizophrenic, so of course she hears voices. So she speaks to every dead relative that we have, of course, and they're in heaven with God. And it's just she suffers, right? She's unhappy. She constantly cries. She was crying all last night. She woke up this morning crying. And about, things that in her mind happens, or her reality is skewed. That's just the best way
Yeah,
I
it
know
is.
how to say it. She's not
It's
only
true.
schizophrenic, she's bipolar, she's autistic, she suffers with, I mean, she has it all, basically. And her whole demeanor, everything has changed, right? I mean, she used to be so outgoing and funny and, and then all of a sudden, it's like this thing took over her. She's hyper religious. Her whole conversation is God, which turns people off, right? She
Yeah.
doesn't know why she doesn't have friends because she's so animated. I mean, we could be in Sam's shopping and she could be looking for something and she can find it and she has to stop and have a praise break right there in Sam's. I mean, that's just how it is. And so, I'm deconstructing. So one of the things that I'm having a problem with is because as much as this girl loves God, right? As much as she's constantly crying out to God, to see her suffer in her mind the way she is pisses me to the height of my pistivity. Because my thing is, if there is a God, where the fuck is he now? It hurts. It hurts. I hate to see her dealing with that, and I can't help her. This morning I woke up, she was in there crying, and I just went in there and I just hugged her so tight. And the only way I could get her to calm down, because she was trying to get ready to go to work. She's high functioning autistic, but she can work, right? And so she was trying to get ready to go to work, and I'm trying to keep her in the right frame of mind. And the only thing I could do was start quoting scriptures to her, scriptures that I no longer even believe in, y'all. I'm in there praying for her, laying here, because I know this is what she needs. And it helped her.
Yeah.
But it made me feel like the biggest hypocrite in the world, because I don't believe this shit anymore. But I mean, I'm in there praying and I'm telling her, I said,
Well, I want you to know I'd do anything for my daughter. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I'd be praying. One of my children had a psychotic break, and that was one of the hardest things I ever went through in my life. So and they too have bipolar disorder, and as you know, it can cause psychosis and so forth. And their reality is skewed. It is not the same. There's no right way to handle this. It is keeping your child safe at a point, and that is the most important thing, no matter what we do. And so I would pray too.
right. And
I want you to
that's
know
all
that.
You're not
that's
being a
all I knew
hypocrite.
to do. All I knew to do was to pray. And I'm in there, I'm going, remember, weeping man do it for a night, but joy coming in the morning. And I'm just, I'm saying all this stuff and God, I said, you have a right to hold God accountable to his promises. And he promised you this and he promised you that. And you make sure I'm trying to encourage her with this God, because I know that's what she needs. And it helps. She got herself together and she stopped crying. She was able to continue getting ready and go off to work. But it drains, it's so draining, because it just really enrages me. Because like I say, if somebody said, well, what if it is a God? Would you serve him? Or what if he came to you and proved to you that he is existing? I couldn't serve him still, because now I want to know, motherfucker, where you been? You just been sitting up on how watching all this shit go on. This world is burning down, and you sit up there scratching your nose. I'm just angry. I have a lot of anger. That's why I've been kind of quiet. I have a therapist, and I talk to my therapist about it, but it gets a bit much. And I heard y'all talking, and when it went to, you talking about the mental health, and I'm like, I need to say this out loud to somebody, or I'm going to lose my mind.
Can I offer a thought that I have?
Sure.
I'm going to say exactly what everyone else is saying. You're doing exactly what you need to do for what she needs to do. But I don't know if you know much about Alzheimer's and stuff. I'll just make this really short. The way people used to treat patients like elderly family members, they thought that they had to shock them into reality. Oh, if they think they're back in the 1940s, if they think their husband is still alive, my Alzheimer's mom, you gotta beat the truth into them and shock them into reality. But over the last 20 or so years, that's changed dramatically. And so what they've realized, the most loving thing and the most kind thing to do with them, it's not to beat them into reality, whether it's true or not, but you live with them in their reality. So when they think that their husband is still alive and they talk about him or ask where he is, you even if it's lying to them, you still tell them what they need to hear, because there's no real benefit to trying to just harshly shock the truth into them. And so I think you're kind of doing like that with your daughter, and that's, to be honest, outside of seeking professional help for her, that's about probably all you can do. And I hope you're able to take some comfort and solace in the fact that genuinely you're doing everything you can.
I mean, well, she has a therapist and she takes medication. It's just sometimes, it gets the better of her, and I I love this girl. I love all my kids. Y'all know how I talk about my children. And I'll do anything for any of them. I have 4 beautiful children, 3 of which are LGBTQIA, and I love them and their partners to death, right? They come to my house and we all pile up in my bed and watch something, I've never made her feel any kind of way about, because that's who she is. I accepted it long time ago, and that's who she is. Did not deter from my love for her, because I carried that thing. You hear me? And she's a twin, and she's my last. She's the only girl I had, and I prayed for her. Every time I got pregnant, I didn't even have any names picked. I didn't name any of my boys because I was so sure they were going to be girls. I didn't even have any boy name picked out. And then I finally get my little girl, and I see her suffer like she suffers in her mind. And then I think, and then and sometimes I get angry, and like she'll come in here and she'll want to talk about God, and sometimes I just want to holler, I don't even believe in God, but I don't, because then it kind of scares me. I don't know what that would do to her peace of mind. I don't know what that would cause her to do if she knew how I really felt, because I introduced God to her. I took my children to this thing. And like she'll come in here and she'll go like, Mom, I need you to pray for me. I need you to pray. Come pray with me. I'm sorry.
It really is.
I'm sorry. I
You
just
don't have to
needed to
be
get it out.
sorry.
I
No,
just
I'm
needed to
glad
get it
that
out.
you found us to be safe enough to share that with, and I really appreciate it as a mom who has also struggled with a child. Well, I have mental illness, and to know that I
So
passed
did
that
I.
on, that was really, difficult to, I don't know, come to terms with,
Well, it runs in my
and
family. It
yeah,
runs in my family.
it's
My
in you.
mom committed, she killed herself. She was schizophrenic. She jumped 13 stories.
I'm so
And so
sorry.
it runs in my family. All of my kids deal on some level with some type of mental illness. Hers is just the worst. I'm sorry, I
Same
cut you
with
off.
me. It runs in my family too. For my parents, they chose to medicate with alcohol. And so I didn't even know them. I grew up with my aunt and uncle. But it clearly runs in my family, and my children also all suffer from some form of either depression or bipolar disorder. I will be tested finally at damn near 60 years old to see if I am autistic and have ADHD. It just took me years for me to get approval to be tested, so I'm going to be tested in January for that.
but it's really hard. And I have a sister who also suffers. I am not very close to any of my siblings. I really don't talk to any of them. It's a very long, sordid, weird story, but I didn't grow up with them. When I did know them, they were more like cousins, and then I didn't really get along with them, so we don't really talk or anything. But one of them always tried, but due to her mental illness, she just went down that whole MAGA QAnon bullshit. And
Yeah.
I just can't do that. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you fucking talking about? But it's not just the MAGA. Like, it's not, which is bad enough, because that is just so much hatred. You know, what are you, and
Yeah.
it's such a cult, right? But the QAnon, like, if you don't know what that is, you guys, it's like every conspiracy theory out there. And I hate conspiracy theories, because conspiracy theories prey on people with mental illness. They prey on people like me. And all I need to do is just not be in the right headspace, and I could fall for something that could just really screw me up for the rest of my life. And so I have to cut people like that out of my life, because I can't even
Yeah, it's
talk to them.
dangerous. I don't blame you
I
at
just
all.
can't. Yeah.
I have so much, like, knowing that now about you. That's just insane. Makes me have so much respect for you. That is crazy. My family, to be honest, another little bit of my backstory is that most of my family, hardcore QAnoners, as in they were into the QAnon conspiracies really before anybody else was talking about them. I was already hearing about that kind of stuff from my family. And then some years later, once Trump is really getting like elected and all of that's blowing up on the internet, then I'm hearing all this stuff coming full circle from what I'd been hearing about from my family members.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's truly nuts.
It's so weird. And it's just like, I don't know. At first I would, okay, because I have mental illness, I just talked about this with somebody recently. I wonder sometimes if my judgment is off when I make a decision to cut somebody out of my life. I question myself, and I think, am I doing that because there's something really wrong and I should be? Are my instincts correct about this person? Or am I being, dramatic or overreacting or what have you? And so when she first was like, letting on that she was MAGA, I was questioning. I wanted to cut her off like, boom. Anybody who's MAGA, hey, Obi, so you know what I'm talking about. I just wanted to just cut all of them out of my life, but then people made you feel guilty about that, right? Like they were like, but it's your family, you know? And so then my brain goes like, oh, is this like because you don't make good judgment calls because you have mental health issues, like maybe you're just the toxic one, Crystal. Maybe it's you, or whatever. And so at first I was like going, okay, maybe I'm judging her too. But then it's just like the next thing she says is so, oh my God, it's just so dumb is what it is. It's really dumb. It'll be like, like you'll see on the 17th, there's a big, huge sting going down and everybody in Hollywood's going to be arrested or whatever. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, why would you know that?
How about when JFK himself was supposed to come back from the dead in Dallas? Yep.
Yes. And it would just be one really weird thing after another. And I'm thinking, think for one moment, if this top secret shit was going to happen, Why would you be privy to it and not one journalist would have reported on it? Yeah, like what are you talking about? It's just crazy. I don't know. I can't do it. I go like, I really love her. I really think this has to do with her mental illness, but I can't. I gotta take care of my own mental health, and my family, right? And she's a grown ass woman. I did tell her, I think you need help. I think you're in a freaking conspiracy cult, but they're not going to listen to you when you say stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
the problem. Yep. Well, hey, Crystal,
So,
real quick, I'm gonna actually have to drop on out of
okay.
here. It's been such a
Thank you
great
for being
time.
here.
Thank you all.
Just as
Yeah.
I come
Thank you
back
so
too.
much.
I'm sorry, Rabbi. I'm sorry. We'll hang out again sometime. I'll see you all later. Peace, y'all.
Yeah, it was
It
good
was
getting to
very
know
nice
you.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting y'all. Ta-ta.
Hey,
And
Joyful,
QAnon,
welcome to the
isn't that
panel.
the QAnon? People think that
Oh,
like
go ahead,
all
Sunny.
they think that like we're all devil, all the Democrats or anybody that's not Trump is like devil worshippers, and we're eating the babies or
And
something
we're
like that. I saw
lizards.
something on
We're
Reddit.
reptiles.
Yeah, and
We're
like
all
we're
lizards too.
kidnapping babies and eating them to stay young or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow, it's a good thing. I think that's definitely a good decision to cut anyone off that's wrapped up in that stuff. It's because they are not in reality at all.
Yeah, they're
So
not.
I
And
don't know
then
what else you could do.
and it breaks my heart because obviously I don't want to cut people out of my life. That's just not what I want to do. But I have found that I need to protect my mental health first. And if their mental health issues are going to fuck with my mental health, it won't be good for either one of us. So I won't be able to help them in any way. Anyway, hey, Joyful, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Sorry I had to dip so quickly. My wife wasn't supposed to be home until 2 our time for lunch, and she just showed up out of the blue, was like, hey, and I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah. So I told her I'd sit while she ate her food. I'd sit with her and talk. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's nice because we're Team Holly all the way over here. So, well,
Well, thank you
anybody
for.
have anything?
Oh, I was just saying thank y'all for listening.
Go ahead.
I appreciate. No, I was just no. I was just thanking
Thank you
everybody
so much for coming up.
for listening. Yeah. I needed to say it. I just needed to get it out. I appreciate y'all for listening. I'm gonna just take me a couple of woosahs, and I'm gonna listen. And I'm gonna let somebody else have my place if they need to come up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you being so open with us and sharing with us because I think that people need to know that there's real reasons why sometimes we're angry up here and why we get sick of the bullshit, right? Like they're real reasons. These are real casualties. These are real fucking people.
Yes, exactly. And they take it, sometimes they be so flippant about it, you know? But anyway.
Well, you're doing a great job being a mom. I think that's amazing. And I want to share, I have 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl. So I know how you felt. I wanted my girl so bad.
And she looked just like me.
Oh, how sweet.
But thank y'all. I am so glad that I found this deconstructing family, and it's a lot of us in here, and I follow as many as I can, and I take whatever information I can. I just enjoy this space, and it's well needed. So please don't stop. Don't ever stop. Everybody has a little spot, a little place, and it's needed. So
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Because it is hard sometimes to do these things, you know. But I do think it's important. All right, I will. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Follow Charlene. She is so sweet. I really love her. I've learned a lot from her too. Well, did anybody have any questions that they wanted? Sunny, did you have more questions for Rabbi Hannah?
Yeah, she kind of brought it up a little bit about the Satan. So, like, do you have any? Is there a devil or a Satan?
Not in
Like, not the
Judaism.
the adversary, but is there the actual like that
No.
Christians? No.
No, we don't believe in a being that is only there to create havoc. The Satan in Judaism is a title for a set of entities, God's prosecutors. Their job is to press on what we call the Yetzer Hara, or the evil inclination, to see if you are going to lean into your better self or if you're going to give in to doing wrong action. That's it.
So I'm sorry. Could you say that again? So there's no Satan like tempting you. You said that's yourself that you're.
No, it's yourself. Yeah. So we believe that, you get tempted in it's pressed on is more what we would say of your Yetzer Hara. We believe that every human being can be good or can do bad. That's the truth. We can all have actions that are good and we all have actions that can be bad. So when we are at a crossroads, the Yetzer Hara is the kind of evil inclination. Are you going to lean into that evil inclination of man or a human being and do the wrong thing? Or are you going to lean into your Ayin Hara, which is the more holy inclination, and do the right thing? But we don't have an evil entity trying to steal your soul or drag you to hell or anything like that. We don't have that.
Yeah, because I mean that's how I feel like as an atheist. Like everyone just has like nobody's perfect. We all have like temptation. Excuse me. We all have like temptation. We all have like maybe a side to us that is not the best. So that seems like it pretty much it matches up with reality.
But yeah, but yeah, we don't have the Satan thing. We don't have that. I've never have understood that. And we don't have a concept of hell in any way, shape, or form.
And as far as like, so you don't believe in like any of the omni properties. So like as far as
No.
God, like you look at God and you're like that action, like, for as far as like David's wives, like you're like, that's not an all good. Yeah, you can look at that.
No, he was on some fuck shit.
Okay. So yeah, you don't feel like any guilt or anything by saying that's God did that and that's not good.
Not even a little bit. Because the Torah for us is an ongoing conversation. And the ongoing conversation is we are
Hi, Mama
people
Bash.
who we see ourselves as we are given to this God. In Deuteronomy, it says that, we are given to the Yud He Vav He because we were apportioned to the sons of El, and our nation was given to the Yud He Vav He. And so that is the conversation, and that is the commitment that we have, and that's the covenantal relationship that we are attached to, is with this Yud He Vav He. And he's trying to figure out how to be the God that we need. And we are testing him being, and seeing what kind of God he is going to be. And in doing so, that is an ongoing conversation between the Jewish people and the Yud He Vav He. This is the God we need. Are you going to be that? And when you fuck up, are you going to make up for it? And it is a good thing. Because if this Yud He Vav He can fuck up royally, and then have to make up for it, then how hard is it for Hannah to fuck up royally and then have to make up for it?
Yeah, well, thank you. Like I appreciate you answering all my questions.
It's my pleasure.
It's like you don't feel like, because this is also something I've been told, like if we say like God is evil, then like I think I said this on somebody's live yesterday, like I was told that was like anti-Semitic because it's not just the Christian God, it's the Jewish God. So by saying it's evil, that's anti-Semitic.
Whoever told you that it was anti-Semitic, they need to shut the hell up. Because to say that God is evil is not anti-Semitic. I am so fucking tired of hearing people, especially who aren't Jews, going, well, you can't say that because it's anti-Semitic. No, we get to decide what is anti-Semitic. And by the way, calling God evil, we do that a lot. God was on some fuck shit when he did a lot of stuff. And he is not an all good person or an all good entity, and he's not an all bad entity. There's nowhere in the text that describes an all loving God or an all vengeful God. God is conditionally loving and conditionally vengeful.
But you could understand like how like as an outsider like looking and reading like the Old Testament, like we're like, damn, that's some fucked up shit.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. There is some absolute, and don't think for a second, I think this is why the man doesn't show up or the entity doesn't show up, because if he showed up at my house, I'd be like, what were you thinking? Like, I don't care that it was 2,000, 3,000 years ago. You and me are going to have it out. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I am not the one. If you created me in your image, then this image is telling you, you are a fuck shit, and let's go. But yeah, I don't understand how to be, like I don't have, I've never understood how to be afraid of God, because Jews just aren't afraid of God. We don't worship God the way that Christianity does. We believe we are partners in creation with God. So worship is not quite what we do.
like I feel
There's
like
a question in chat. I'm sorry. Let me ask this real quick for James, and then you can go, Sonny. James says, "Do the Jewish people still have practices reflecting when Yahweh was a storm and war god?"
I would have to understand what you mean a little bit more about that. You'd have to expound on that question.
If you want to come
more.
up, James, you can come up as long as you're over 18. Go ahead, Sonny.
Hey, give me a second because I kind of lost my my thought.
Oh, okay. He went on to say, as a pagan, I don't worship my gods. I venerate and work with them. Let me see.
Oh, I'm at work. Oh, no, I totally get it. I mean, the Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh is not Canaanite. The Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh was borrowed into the biblical text from the Shasu tribe, not from the Canaanite pantheon. Baal is the storm deity that you're thinking of in the Canaanite pantheon.
25087.
My name's Liz.
Can I get your... Oh, okay, Liz.
Yeah,
Can
and
I
I'm
get your
36.
age for TikTok purpose? Okay. And do you have a god or a deity that you believe in?
I'm more agnostic than anything. I would consider myself like close to the all that is, if you will, but I don't think it's like a dude in the sky necessarily.
Do you have faith? Like, and when
No.
I say faith, I'm real specific about it because I believe in the Christian form of faith, which means believing in something without evidence for it.
No, I don't believe in things without evidence. No. I listen to you all the time, Crystal, so I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, I'm kind of like the creepy people that like listen in the background. But mostly I'm working or something else.
I do that to a lot of people.
Oh, you do? Good. Okay, so it's not just me. 'Cause I'm like, I feel like such a creep sometimes because I just like listen for hours and hours and I don't say anything at all. But I get in trouble for when I talk. Like, I wanted to say something to the rabbi because I've been listening. When people don't like something, I tend to really look at it. So, like with this rise of anti-Semitism, what I've done is I've gone and I've listened to like hours and hours and hours of different rabbis talking about Judaism. And what I found out is Judaism's really cool, like comparatively speaking, to Christianity. It's a lot more accepting. They believe in reincarnation. There's a lot that I didn't know about Judaism. But the rabbi said, Rabbi, how do you pronounce your name?
Hannah.
Hannah, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Rabbi Hannah, she mentioned that like the people, I was on a live the other night myself. I was going live and I was like, the Jews believe in reincarnation. And then somebody called me anti-Semitic for saying Jews. And I'm like, you should,
It's not
you,
anti-Semitic,
like actually,
but it's not great.
oh, okay. How would I address it better?
Jewish community or Jewish people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I don't
I
actually
wasn't-
care. I'm not somebody who cares, but a lot of Jews do care and say basically that because Jew has been used pejoratively.
Right.
So
Right.
if I will say that I am a Jew, but a lot of Jewish people would prefer those who are Gentiles to say Jewish people.
Okay. No, that's fair. But I also
But I
There was
I
like
don't think
part
it's
of it.
inherently anti-Semitic. Again, that's a weird thing to say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I thought it was weird that they would say that instead of just like correcting me. They weren't Jewish. They were just
Well,
somebody.
and I've noticed that a lot of non-Jews or Gentile people tend to jump to that. That's anti-Semitic. How do you know? Like,
Exactly. Like, that really
that
bothered
I
me.
will. Okay, I will tell you when I do say it, and I think that Rabbi knows that I do know a lot of the Christian men on this app, and I know when they're saying it to be
oh well, yeah.
anti-Semitic. And
Right.
then I will be like, no, please say Jewish people,
Yeah, but when
because
you
I
say
know when
something
they're
like,
trying to push my buttons.
I think God is evil, that's anti-Semitic. No, the fuck it isn't.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's
Or,
not.
I said Jew. Okay, well, we would prefer Jewish people, but it's not
Well,
inherently anti-Semitic.
and from a Jewish person, like, I appreciate that, like you course correcting me, but I don't want to be called an anti-Semite because I've actually looked into Judaism. I appreciate Judaism. I have friends who are Jewish people, and I got blocked. She was like, "You're an anti-Semite." I said, "I'm the actual opposite." And I think it almost borderlines anti-Semitic for like Gentiles to just shut down other people without any knowledge of Judaism
It's
at
the white
all.
knighting. It's the white knighting for me. We don't actually need people to do that for us. We're really good at, like, we're not your grandfather's Hebes. We're really good at
Right.
taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
wild. I'm
certainly
so sorry that you experienced that.
thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jewish people are proud to be Jewish. They work really hard to be Jewish. They have a lot of culture behind their religion. And if they're practicing Jewish people, then they should be able to call themselves Jews. And like, how dare you take their culture from them? That's how I actually felt about the whole thing. Like,
Yeah, no,
it really
I call
fired me
myself
up
a Jew,
because I was like,
and I will refer to other Jews as Jews. But yeah, outside Gentiles, generally it's asked just Jewish people.
okay, well, yeah, no, I appreciate the input. I was just really upset because I have Jewish friends and I certainly wasn't being anti-Semitic. But if the girl was like, that sound anti-Semitic, then I would have corrected. But she's like, you're an anti-Semite. And I'm like, hold
Yeah,
on.
that's
Like, hold on. And I just feel like there's a lot of that happening. Like, people are so polarized that they can't just have a discussion. Like, you say one wrong word and they're like, you're the worst thing on earth. I'm like, and it's not just that instance, it's like everything. Crystal, I'm sure you experienced that going live a lot. Like, no matter what you say,
I
it's not good.
experienced so many things. I think I probably have been called an anti-Semite with Rabbi Hannah
Oh, really?
on my panel
Okay.
before.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Have I, Rabbi
I
Hannah?
think you
Because I
have.
know they do it to me.
I think you have, and I was just like, I don't understand. Like, if anybody in the room is going to know, it might be me.
Right.
I mean, I've only been a Jew for 50 years.
Only, yeah, not qualified at all. leave it to the white knights to stand up for you.
I'm just like, listen, we're okay.
Yeah,
We're okay.
yeah. And
Listen, I will tell
I
you,
grew up.
she's had to tell me to back down when I've somebody has come at her crossways, and then I'm like, what did you say? Oops, something happened to your audio. I'm gonna mute you for a minute. Something happened to your audio. But Rabbi Hannah has had to tell me, hey, I got this. I love you, but I got this. I'm like, okay,
Like, thank
you
you,
got this. What am I doing?
And then I was trying to be polite, and so I told somebody that I was just, if they didn't stop, I was going to dog walk them back to their mama, and I left it there, Crystal. And another person on the panel who has heard me say it, she goes, no, you're going to dog walk them back to their mama's vagina. Don't leave that part off.
I love you.
And I was just
That's
like,
hilarious.
I was trying to be polite. Like, but yes, I do say that.
No, good. Yeah. No, I just
did-
wanted to clear that up
it's
because
a lot.
it really upset me, And I really love Judaism. Like, of all the religions, I've done a lot of religious studies, not like like I don't go to school, on my own time. And I think Judaism is really cool. Really, really cool.
Well, I want
So
to
it was really
disabuse
interesting
you
because
from the
I
idea.
just found out.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to disabuse you of
Oh,
the idea that we don't
like I
have
just
just as
recently.
much toxic shit.
Oh,
You actually
well,
have a really bad connection right now. 25. Liz, I'm sorry, I forgot. I
okay,
just remember my name
sorry.
is Liz. You have a really bad
You're good.
connection
No
right
worries.
now.
Oh, now you're back.
Now you're back. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'll just
Now we
mute.
can hear you. I'm sorry, I just saw the bars. No, go ahead. We just couldn't hear you right then.
No, I want. What was the rabbi saying?
I was saying that I want to make sure you understand that we are different, not better. And we have just as much toxic theology, misogyny, patriarchy, bullshit abuse in Judaism
Yeah.
as any other religion. It's just because we're insular, not too many people from the outside get in to know what it is, what's going on. So we have just as much, religion is beautiful on paper. You add people to it, and that's where it goes to shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely agree.
Hey, guys, I want to make an announcement real quick. You guys, thank you for the 31,000 likes. I do shoot for 100,000, and I am looking for a head mod for my TikTok channel. If you are one of my moderators or you want to be a head mod, hit me up in a DM. You will need Discord because we'll be communicating with the mods over on Discord because I need you guys to help me start reaching these goals. And one thing I know is that I need a mod who's going to be out there and be my hype guy. You know what I mean? Like I've done for so many people. I need them to say, get these likes up or I'm turning the comments off. That's kind of what I need because I can't do that for myself while I'm live. So I need you to start tapping the screen. That's right. Tap away. You guys, I wrote an anti-sermon for today about Eve. Do you guys want to hear my anti-sermon while we're waiting for a believer? By the way, I will be live for about 20 more minutes unless we meet the gift goal. If we meet the gift goal, we'll stay live for another hour. Do you guys want to hear the yes, okay, you guys do. Okay, so I started thinking, like, I used to write sermons and Bible studies and like Sunday school lessons and stuff. And the way Christians do this, like, I don't know about you, Joyful. You tell me if you kind of did yours in a similar way, okay? And I don't know how you do it, Rabbi, so you let me know if you guys do it this way. But what we did was either something happened in our life that made us think about, you know, how that applies to God. And then you would build a whole sermon around that. Or you would do something else where you would like go into the Bible and find a verse that really speaks to you. And then you would build an entire sermon around that. Do either of those apply to you guys?
Not for me. So our droshes are based on the parsha of the week. So we go through the parsha, the portion of the Torah, and then we are pulling out what we think is the theme that we want to address. And so rabbis will address different themes. So like Parsha Noach, you know how I teach it. My theme is that it is about, you know, resilience and starting all over again. I've also taught it from the angle of what it looks like to deal with PTSD and post, you know, when your life falls apart and you're dealing with the post PTSD. Another rabbi might teach it from the idea of promise of a future, things like that. So that's we go by what the theming is inside.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
But we may add, you know, some personal touches to it. Obviously, I don't think too many people teach it from my angle of, you know, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you want to like stand out, right? That's your thing. How about you, Joyful? How did you go about like writing your sermons? Oh, your teacup, you probably got a call or something. Anyway, so I started thinking about that and I was like, I kind of want to write like sermons from my perspective now, if you will, you know, it's a different perspective now. And so I wanted to kind of go through
each woman of the Bible and what their story tells me now that I don't believe and what I really think of the situation. So I'm going to start with Eve in the garden, okay? All right. Every time I return to the story we were raised on, the story we were told explains everything wrong with humanity. I noticed something that somehow nobody taught us to pay attention to. I've learned it since, and now I pay attention to it, but I never paid attention to this as a believer. Eve never even got the instructions. The rule that the entire fate of humanity supposedly hinges on was spoken when she didn't even exist yet. God gives it to Adam. Adam hears it. Adam receives it. Adam is the one with the information. And Eve comes into the world afterward with no record of ever being taught what was forbidden. And yet she becomes the one blamed for all of it. Isn't that something? From the very beginning, this story shows you exactly what kind of world it was written in. A world where men talk to men about rules for women and then punish women for breaking rules they were never even included in. In church, we were told this meant women were easily deceived, that women are weak, that women need a man to tell them what's true. But when you read it honestly, Eve is not weak. Eve is curious. She wants to understand. The serpent doesn't tempt her with power or violence or cruelty. It tempts her with wisdom, with seeing clearly, with knowing more with knowing more. In every other story in the Bible, seeking wisdom is praised. When Solomon asks for wisdom, God celebrates it. But when Eve reaches for that very same thing, the whole world crashes down on her. It isn't curiosity that's the problem in this story. It's that a woman is the one who possesses it. And what gets me is how familiar this still feels. How many times do we watch the dynamic play out today? A woman asks questions. Check the reporters, okay, who report Trump, okay? A woman asks questions, seeks understanding, wants more than she's been handed, and suddenly she's rebellious, she's causing problems, she's stepping out of her place. It's the Eden story all over again, just in different clothes. It happened to me when I was young. When I was in the 6th grade, my teacher, hang on one second. My dog is doing this stuff. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Sorry. It happened to me when I was young. When I was in the 6th grade, my teacher realized I was extremely smart and wanted me tested for the gifted program. But in the 1970s, girls weren't routinely tested for gifted education. So the school sent a letter home to my parents, and I still remember how it began. Dear Mr. and Mrs., your son has shown great intellectual ability. The entire letter talked about me using masculine pronouns. The secretary didn't even bother to use whiteout or type a new copy. They just assumed that gifted meant boy. I ended up being the first girl in my entire elementary school to be tested for the gifted program. And instead of feeling proud, I remember feeling sad. Because all I could think was, how many brilliant girls came through that school before me? How many of them were never considered, not because they weren't smart enough, but because they weren't boys? And that right there is the spirit of the Eden story. Eve reaches for wisdom and is punished for it. Girls reach for excellence and are ignored for it. Women try to understand and are told they're being difficult. The been threatened by the curiosity of women. And then we look at Adam. The moment things go wrong, he doesn't stand with her. He doesn't take responsibility. He doesn't say, we made this choice together. No, he looks God straight in the face and says, the woman you gave me, she did it. And God accepts that excuse. The very first time anything goes wrong in the Bible, a man shifts blame onto a woman and the system backs him up. That's not divine justice. That's patriarchy. That's storytelling designed to a woman and the system backs him up. That's not divine justice. That's patriarchy. That's storytelling designed to the first human, specifically that the seed is the ovum carried by women. Women create life. Women create the power of creation away from women in their own myth and handed it to a man made from dirt. Eve wasn't the downfall of humanity. Eve was the first woman punished for thinking for herself. Eve wanted wisdom, and the world wasn't ready for a woman who knew too much. So when I look at Eve now, I don't see the fall of man. I see the rise of womanhood. I see the first moment when a woman acts from her own mind, her own curiosity, her own desire to understand. And I see a story desperately trying to warn every other woman not to do the same. But we're still here, still questioning, still learning, still refusing to shrink. And that alone is proof that that story didn't work.
It's
That's my
gorgeous.
sermon. Thank you. But that is just, like, I just realized I don't look at these stories the same anymore, but they hold just a totally different meaning for me now.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. They definitely hold different meaning for me than when I was younger. When I was younger, I didn't think about Eve the way I do now. I didn't think about Lilith or, the beginnings or anything. I thought about it in so much different ways than I do now. And then
Hey, deconstruction.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, sorry.
And the way I think about it now is how I teach it now. Because I think about the way it has to connect with people if we want to, like, my job, as you've heard me say, is to keep Jews in Judaism. And if we're telling stories that do not connect to them, or we're connecting a story that makes no sense to them, then how do we relate to them? The Torah has to grow, it has to evolve, it has to live and breathe. Otherwise it just breaks.
Deconstruction, what did you want to add to the conversation?
Originally, I think it was about sermon prep when I requested, but I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, tell me about it though.
Well, real quick, I wanted just because you were talking about your new perspective on Eve, which is phenomenal. I remember noticing, like in the Pauline literature, when it talks about, well, Eve was deceived, Adam was not deceived. It kind of like hit me during my deconstruction, and then I'm like, wait a second. This is shit talking Eve because it says, well, because Eve did that, therefore, they're subservient to men or whatever. So it's in that same context, they say Eve was deceived, Adam was not. But it's like, wait a sec. Adam then knowingly did it? Like he wasn't deceived. He was just like
really good point.
It was just like actively like, no, I know what God said and I'm gonna do otherwise. But somehow Eve getting tricked is worse. Like that makes no sense to me. And it makes sense when you consider the ultimate rule of patriarchy, and that is women can win under no circumstances. There's nothing you can do to win. You can't be enough of A, you can't be enough of Z. You can't be enough of anything. And yeah, that was a bit of an eye-opener.
That's a really good point. Like, that's why I still talk about these things, because people like you come up here and make me go, oh, you're right. He just knowingly did it. And yet somehow it's still women were worse. You know what I mean? Like, still the women are the worst. I think that it's just so evident that story that this entire book was written for men to men because men love men. They love men.
They really do.
Well, David
They
definitely
love
did.
them. They do. I think God did. That's why David was a man after his own heart. He was like, I wish I could be gay with Solomon or whoever too. I wish I could be gay too.
Jonathan.
Who was he gay with? Jonathan? I couldn't think of his name for a minute. I
Solomon.
wish I
Solomon's
could
his
too.
son.
I know. I realized after I said that. Wait, you're doing a little incest there, Crystal. But like God loved foreskins. I think that tells you all you need to know. Like he really was like, if I had enough of the dick skins, maybe I could put together and make one big dick. That's what I'm thinking he's doing. Could I be wrong on that? It's a
Closet drops another foreskin in there. Ah, almost there.
almost there. We're all waiting for
It's
the
interesting.
the Messiah to return, and God's just going, I just need a few more foreskins. And we'll get that going.
Egyptian studies show, it was interesting to me to find out that like the circumcision thing comes from Egypt. Like that was imported from Egypt into the Levant.
It was. I did not.
Some like hieroglyphs or like tomb art that depict the act of circumcision from like prior to the timing of those events.
Why do you think people ever did start it? Like, do you think that it was because
To be set apart.
people didn't
To
have
be different.
just to be set apart?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Like
I think
this is
so.
the
I
sign
mean,
that we're a part of this in group.
Okay, like I'm just gonna tell all my friends out there right now, if we were gonna start a club and we're gonna do something cool to set us all apart, you're not touching that, okay? Let's just make that clear, okay?
Like, who
We
was
can
the
do
first-
something else.
who was the first guy that was like, hear me out?
Yeah,
this
who
idea.
was that?
I was just gonna say, like, you said it was like to be set apart, but like I would sooner tattoo my face than the guy's like, hey, you want to be part of my club? You want to be part of my club? All you gotta do is cut off the tip of your dick.
Also, the way that circumcision was performed in ancient times is not the way that we think of in modern circumcision. It was actually just in modern.
Oh, okay. That is interesting.
Yeah, there's
Somebody
a
got
really
carried
good-
away one time.
There's a really good book about the history of it and the history of it.
You're still
cool.
definitely not. You're definitely not
Oh
putting
no,
a
I
knife
agree
anywhere
with you.
near
That's a completely,
my
you know,
stuff.
I think it's a ridiculous thing, and as a rabbi, it's not something that I will participate in. I will do a Brit Shalom, which is a baby welcoming and naming ceremony, but not Brit Milah.
Not a Brit.
And I get a lot of crap from it for a lot of people that we can find other ways to be part of the covenant.
Yeah. Favorite story about foreskins from the Bible is when Moses was going into Egypt and God was going to unalive him. But then God changed his mind because a mother walked by and cut off her son's foreskin and rubbed it on Jesus's feet, or on Moses's feet.
Oh, Zipporah, his wife.
Never mind.
Yeah, Zipporah. It was his, not his feet. He rubbed it on.
Oh, okay.
No, it's his junk. Well, it says feet in the Bible, but you need to know that feet mean junk. I talked about this with Bert before because
in the Bible it says his thigh.
Oh, you're right. It says his thigh. You're right. It does say his thigh. You're right.
The way you said his junk.
In my version of the Bible,
I know it
the Bible
was.
that I have at home, the one I have at home, it says feet.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
it's his
here's
thigh.
why. I was talking to Bert about this, Rabbi Hannah, and I think you will totally appreciate the way I see that story. And I will do an anti-sermon about it one day too. I told Bert that this is how I pictured, okay? Zipporah is like, what do you mean God's after you and wants to fucking kill you? What are you talking about? And he's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do this thing. Okay, what? Okay, you were supposed to circumcise our kid and you didn't do it? And now I've got to fucking do this thing because why can't you ever do what you're supposed to do? Oh my God. And so she goes over and she whacks it off and then she's like, you're a blood groom. And then she throws it at his dick. That's what I picture. Because, you know, she's so fed up with this bullshit. Like, I literally have to save you from God because you couldn't handle this. I don't know. That's how
I really like your version. Your version is now my Bible.
That's just my personal way I picture it in my head, because you know that everybody who's been in a relationship, there is those things your partner always says they're going to do and then they never do them, and eventually you end up having to clean up whatever mess they made and you're like, God damn it, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, anytime in the text that you see somebody's making an oath and they put their hand under their thigh, they're actually holding on to their genitals.
That's why it's called a testament for testes, for testicles.
That's
true.
That's absolutely why that it's called testament.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No,
it's true.
In fact, my wife, every time I talk about this, she makes jokes. She's like, "Hey, come here. I really want to make you a promise." And I'm like, "You need to knock it off."
I love that.
It's like,
oh, that's awesome.
Or she'll make the joke, do you think they were like, look me in the eye and make me a promise? And I'm just like, I don't want to picture it, but thank you, babe, for making it weird.
Well, you guys, this is the time of day I end things. I always stay an extra hour if we meet our gift goal. We haven't met that today, and that's okay. Gifts are never expected, always appreciated. But I want to thank you all for being with me today. I'm going to end by playing one of my songs. I think I was going to play one earlier. Did I ever play Ex Parte? I think I did. So I'll play the Misogyny song for y'all.
I don't.
And
think
then we'll raid somebody.
I'm sorry for just jumping in and starting talking. I don't think I've ever met you before, but it's been nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you. I think I follow you already, so it's very nice to meet you. All right, let's go ahead and listen to Miss Me with that Misogyny.
Miss me, now you gotta kiss me. You interrupt my sentence, call it just a thought. Say you love strong women till you get caught. You want a queen who keeps it light and sweet. But bow down, little man, and kiss my feet. Yeah, you're misinformed, misguided, mistaken. And that charm, boy, I know you're faking. Me with that misogyny. You ain't the man you think you be. Miss me with that hypocrisy. Your fragile ego and royalty. I'm misbehaving and just being me. Miss me with that misogyny. You quote some podcast, call it intellect. But all I see is you begging for respect. You rate our bodies, dismiss our brains, then cry not all men again. Miss me with your tone, miss me with your side, miss me with your sweetheart. Boy, bye, bye, bye. Miss me with that misogyny. Don't need your fake apology. Miss me, can't you see? I'm a star. You're just an extra, baby. Miss me with that misogyny. Misogyny.
All right, you guys, thank you for being here. I will be back Monday. I think I'm going fishing with Doug tomorrow. So do your atheisms for me. So I make sure I survive that little boating trip, okay? And I will see you guys around the meme streets of TikTok. Rabbi Hannah, thank you so much for being here. Deconstructing and Deacon, thank you for being here. And Josh, thank you so much for being here. You guys, I will see you on Monday and see you around.